When we begin to explore the body, especially in the quiet hours when the mind naturally settles, it is soothing to imagine everything within us as a gentle landscape, a landscape not made of rigid beams or mechanical parts, but of living, flexible, ever-adapting tissues that hold us together with steady patience. Beneath the surface of the skin lies a world of quiet architecture, woven from fibers, soft spaces, and supportive layers that create the foundation for every movement and every moment of rest. These are the connective tissues, the silent companions that cradle each organ, wrap every muscle, cushion every joint, and create harmony throughout the entire body. As you ease into a calmer state, imagine these tissues as a vast network of threads winding peacefully through you. Some threads are delicate, soft as gentle moss resting on stone. Others are sturdy, aligned in long, quiet bundles like fibers of natural rope. Together, they form a supportive tapestry that holds the body in graceful balance. These structures are not loud or forceful. They work steadily without demanding attention. This is part of their beauty. Their strength lies in their quietness. They do not clench like muscles or pulse like blood vessels, and they do not send strong sensations unless something is wrong. Most of the time, they simply do their work, forming a dependable background that allows the rest of the body to function freely. In the softness of rest, the depth of their work becomes easier to imagine. You can picture your body lying quietly, supported not only by the surface beneath you, but also by a deep inner architecture shaped across a lifetime. Connective tissues fill the spaces between organs, so they do not shift too freely. They hold bones together while still allowing movement. They help maintain the shapes of structures like the ears and nose, and they cushion delicate tissues that would otherwise press too firmly against one another. Even when you are completely still, these tissues remain active in their own serene way. Consider, for a moment, the feeling of taking a calm breath. As you inhale, your ribs open slightly, and connective tissues stretch in gentle harmony with the expanding lungs. As you exhale, everything softens back into a quiet resting position. This ease of motion is made possible by tissues that adapt without resistance. You do not feel them directly. They help distribute pressure evenly, preventing any single area from becoming overburdened. Their work is subtle, steady, and almost entirely unnoticed, which is exactly what makes them such comforting features of the body's design. These tissues were forming even before you were born, shaping the contours of your body and giving structure to developing organs. As you grew, they strengthened and aligned themselves along paths of movement, responding to how you reached, stretched, walked, and played. Connective tissue does not remain static. It changes with your experiences, your activities, and the passage of time. It gently remodels, adapting without haste. Just as a tree adjusts its branches over the years in response to light and wind, your connective tissues gradually refine themselves, finding new balance as life unfolds. Imagine now that you could drift inside your body and observe these tissues up close. You might see long, shimmering fibers stretching alongside muscles, almost like quiet beams of moonlit thread. You might notice broad sheets wrapping around organs, acting like protective blankets that glide and shift with every movement. You might observe spongy structures nestled between bones, smoothing their contact and cushioning each step you take. And flowing through all of this is a gentle current of fluid, carrying nutrients, clearing away waste, and allowing cells to communicate softly with one another. Connective tissues also bring a sense of unity to the body, allowing everything to act together in harmony. When you reach out an arm, the movement does not belong only to the arm. Connective tissues transmit tiny adjustments across the shoulders, spine, and torso, ensuring balance and fluidity. When you turn your head, tissues along the neck, chest, and even the upper back respond in subtle ways. This quiet connection creates a sense of wholeness, reminding us that the body is not a collection of separate pieces, but a single, integrated system. As you settle even more deeply into stillness, it is soothing to imagine the connective tissues not as rigid supports, but as living companions that stay with you through every moment. They tolerate stretching, twisting, compression, and rest, always adjusting in their slow, patient manner. When the day has asked much of you, these tissues continue their work silently, helping to carry the effects of movement, posture, and gravity. And in moments of rest, they receive the opportunity to soften, rehydrate, and quietly renew themselves. There is comfort in knowing that these tissues are always present, always supporting, always maintaining balance. They do not require effort on your part. They do not ask for attention. They simply offer their strength, their softness, and their quiet endurance. As you feel your body rest more deeply, imagine that this internal network is settling with you, easing into a state of gentle balance. Every fiber, every layer, every soft ribbon of connective structure continues its peaceful work, helping the body remain unified and whole. As the breath flows calmly, the mind drifts, and the muscles soften. The connective tissues remain steady, embracing the entire form with effortless stability. And in this stillness, you can appreciate their quiet beauty, and allowing the body to move through life with fluidity and ease. 2. Understand connective tissue in a way that feels gentle and approachable. It can help to imagine the body not as a collection of separate structures, but as a quiet landscape where everything is linked by soft, continuous forms. Connective tissue is the material that fills the spaces between, around, and within so many of the body's parts. It holds organs in place, provides pathways for tiny vessels and nerves, wraps around muscles like thin blankets, and forms the framework that gives the body its subtle strength. When viewed with a calm and unhurried mind, connective tissue becomes less of a clinical term and more of a soft, supportive presence that touches every corner of the body's internal world. It is the gentle binding that keeps everything unified, and the serene cushion that protects delicate structures from strain. If you imagine peeling back the layers of the body in a slow and soothing way, the presence of connective tissue becomes clear. Beneath the skin lies a layer of tender support, giving shape and quiet firmness to the surface of the body. Beneath that layer lies a complex landscape of tissues that weave around muscles, vessels, and nerves. Connective tissue is not confined to one place or one job. It is everywhere, forming bridges between one structure and another, ensuring that the body maintains its form while still allowing flexible, fluid movement. In the language of calm anatomy, connective tissue is the fabric that makes the body feel whole. Connective tissue can be thought of as the body's gentle communicator. It allows different regions of the body to sense each other, to work together in harmony. Imagine, for instance, turning your head slightly to the side. This simple movement does not occur only in the neck. Connective tissues in the shoulders, upper back, and even the chest respond in small ways to maintain balance and ease. The tissues transmit subtle information about tension and alignment, keeping the body coordinated without any conscious awareness. In this way, connective tissue quietly encourages unity, linking movements so smoothly that the body reacts as one complete system. When describing what connective tissue means, it is helpful to picture its components, though we will explore them more deeply later. At this moment, it is enough to picture three main elements: the cells that form and maintain the tissue, the fibers that provide strength and elasticity, and the ground substance that fills the spaces between these fibers like a soft, gel-like cushion. Together, these components create a material that is both sturdy and adaptable. The fibers give structure, the cells guide maintenance and repair, and the ground substance provides fluidity. This balance ensures that connective tissue does not become brittle or rigid, but remains supple and responsive. There is something soothing about imagining connective tissue as a material designed for both strength and softness. It stabilizes joints and cushions, organs, but it also stretches, bends, When the body relaxes, the tissues soften, settling into a comfortable, balanced position. Even when the body is completely still, connective tissues remain quietly active, maintaining gentle pressures and subtle alignments so that the body never loses its internal harmony. Connective tissue also shapes the body's interior, creating spaces for essential structures. Blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, and nerves all travel through channels formed by connective tissue. These channels guide them along safe, protected paths. Without these soft corridors, the body's inner communication systems would be exposed and vulnerable. Instead, they are cushioned, protected, and held in place by tissues that never stop accommodating the movements of daily life. This protective role is performed silently, without sensation, yet it is vital to the body's well-being. Because connective tissue is found everywhere in the body, it takes on many forms, from delicate and airy to dense and strong. It exists as thin layers beneath the skin, thick bands that anchor muscles to bones, sheets that wrap around organs, and even as the fluid of blood that travels through the vessels. This variety reflects the adaptability of this tissue type. Connective tissue is not confined to one function. Instead, it adapts to the needs of each region. Where flexibility is needed, it becomes soft and stretchy. Where stability is required, it becomes firm and strong. Where smooth gliding is important, it becomes sleek and supportive. In this adaptability lies the unique power of connective tissue to serve the entire body in countless gentle ways. To understand connective tissue in calm and soothing terms, one can also think about how it responds to daily experiences. When the body undergoes stress or strain, connective tissue reacts by gently adjusting its fibers. Over time, these adjustments may change the tissue's shape or texture, reflecting the body's movements and postures. A lifetime of walking, reaching, bending, and resting is recorded within the slow, subtle remodeling of these tissues. This remodeling is never rushed. It unfolds gradually, in harmony with the rhythms of life, and the tissues are capable of healing as well, slowly repairing themselves when small tears or stresses occur. They mend in quiet ways, weaving new fibers or softening old ones, restoring balance and strength as the body continues its journey. In the calm language of anatomy, connective tissue also symbolizes continuity. There is no part of the body entirely isolated from these tissues. Every structure is linked to its neighbors through strands, sheets, and layers of connective material. This continuity ensures that forces applied in one area are gently distributed to others, preventing overload and maintaining comfort. Even when a single muscle contracts, connective tissue spreads the tension across surrounding structures, creating a shared sense of effort. This ability to distribute forces is one of the reasons the body can move with such fluid grace, even when performing complex motions. As you imagine this continuous network, it may help to visualize it as a soft web that glimmers beneath the surface. Every fiber, every cell, and every shimmering layer contributes to the body's sense of inner cohesion. This web holds the organs in place, wraps around muscles like a quiet embrace, anchors bones together, and shapes the lungs, heart, and digestive system. It even forms the soft tissues of the skin, giving it resilience and the ability to stretch and return to form. Without this all-encompassing web, the body would feel disjointed, unsteady, and fragile. With it, the body feels whole, grounded, and supported. Connective tissue is often described in scientific terms, but when viewed through the lens of calmness, it becomes something more than structural. It becomes a symbol of quiet support. It represents the idea that strength does not need to be rigid, and that stability can come from materials that yield gently rather than resist harshly. It is a reminder that the body's architecture is built not only on firmness but also on softness, adaptability, and resilience. This balance is one of the reasons the body can withstand so much, heal from so much, and continue to function fluidly throughout a lifetime. As you relax into this awareness, imagine the connective tissues continuing their peaceful work. They do not hurry, they do not strain, they simply support, cradle, and hold. And in their quiet presence, one can find a sense of inner steadiness, a reminder that beneath every moment of movement or stillness lies a foundation of serene, patient strength. 3. The three essential components: cells, fibers, and ground substance. To understand connective tissue more deeply, in a way that feels unhurried and soothing, imagine yourself gently floating inside the quiet interior of the body, where everything moves with patience and purpose. In this peaceful space, connective tissue reveals itself not as a single structure, but as a blend of three essential elements. These elements, cells, fibers, and ground substance, come together to create a material that is both supportive and adaptable. Like ingredients in a calm, familiar recipe, each part contributes something unique, and together they form the gentle foundations that help the body maintain its form and harmony. Begin by imagining the cells of connective tissue as small, living caretakers, scattered throughout the internal landscape. They are not loud or hurried. Instead, they quietly oversee the creation and maintenance of the tissue around them. These cells include fibroblasts, which you might picture as artists weaving new fibers whenever the body needs reinforcement. They also include adipocytes, storing energy in soft, protective pockets, and immune cells, watching over the tissues like peaceful guardians. Even though each type of cell has its own particular task, they all participate in a collective sense of care, continually shaping, repairing, and balancing the tissue in calm and steady rhythms. Their work unfolds gently, often unnoticed, yet it supports life with remarkable precision. Imagine these cells sitting within a soft sea of material known as the ground substance. This ground substance acts as the quiet space in which everything else rests. It holds water, nutrients, and dissolved molecules, all of which help keep the surrounding environment stable and hydrated. Picture it as a serene, transparent atmosphere filling the spaces between fibers, allowing them to glide smoothly against one another. It is thick enough to cushion delicate structures, yet fluid enough to adapt when pressure shifts. Through this gentle medium, nutrients flow to cells, waste products are carried away, and signals drift softly from one place to another like whispers traveling through calm air. And within this gentle sea, fibers extend in long, quiet strands. These fibers provide the strength and elasticity that connective tissue needs to fulfill its many responsibilities. The most abundant fiber is collagen, which you might imagine as a series of strong yet flexible threads, aligned or arranged in patterns that suit their particular environment. Collagen does not stretch easily, which is why it gives connective tissue such steady support. Whether forming the parallel bundles of tendons or the loosely arranged networks of the skin, collagen fibers create a sense of firmness that never feels harsh or rigid. They offer dependable strength, the kind you might associate with natural fibers woven into a soft but sturdy fabric. Alongside collagen, another type of fiber contributes a gentle sense of elasticity. These are the elastin fibers, which you can imagine as thin, stretchy strands resembling delicate springs. They allow tissues to return to their original shape after being stretched or compressed. When you smile, frown, raise your arms, or take a long, deep breath, elastin helps everything move with graceful ease. These fibers ensure that connective tissue is not stiff or unyielding but lives comfortably between firmness and softness. They create a feeling of gentle resilience, allowing tissues to adapt to movement while still maintaining their natural shape. There is also a third type of fiber woven into some connective tissues: reticular fibers. These fibers form delicate branching networks, shaping supportive lattices for soft organs such as the spleen and lymph nodes. You might picture them as the fine framework of a peaceful, intricate net. Their structure is not meant for strength in the way collagen is, nor for elasticity in the way elastin is. but rather for gentle support. They hold delicate tissues in place while allowing room for fluid, cells, and small vessels to pass through without obstruction. Even though reticular fibers are thin and understated, they play a key role in maintaining the comfort and stability of some of the body's most sensitive regions. Together, these three components, cells, fibers, and ground substance, form the living material known as connective tissue. When blended, they create a medium that can be firm or flexible, dense or airy. In the tendons of the feet and hands, fibers lie in orderly alignment, forming strong structures capable of transmitting force. In the delicate tissues beneath the skin, fibers are arranged loosely, allowing softness and flexibility. In cartilage, a specialized form of connective tissue. In each region, the proportions and arrangements change, like variations on a theme, creating just the right texture for the local environment. If you imagine gliding through the connective tissue as though drifting through a soft, underwater forest, you would see these components interacting with one another in subtle ways. Cells nestle within the matrix, quietly extending and retracting their small shapes as they maintain the tissue. Fibers stretch across the landscape, some thick and strong, others thin and spring-like. The ground substance fills the spaces between, keeping everything hydrated, protected, and smooth. It is a world both structured and fluid, both stable and adaptable, designed to support movement without harshness and to maintain shape without rigidity. The harmony of these elements is part of what makes connective tissue so remarkable. They work together not through force but through balance. Cells build and maintain fibers. Fibers anchor and support the cells. The ground substance surrounds and nourishes all of them. As the body moves, this harmony allows for gentle adjustments. When the body rests, it allows for soft settling. This adaptability is essential because the demands placed on connective tissue change constantly throughout life. Some days the tissue may bear weight, other days it may stretch or compress, and sometimes it simply holds everything in a comfortable, quiet alignment. In moments of calm reflection, you might see connective tissue as a symbol of how subtle, unseen elements can create stability. Even though these tissues rarely draw attention to themselves, they support every movement, every shift, and every breath. The cells, the fibers, and the ground substance each contribute to a sense of continuity, creating an internal environment where everything is held and guided with gentle care. The softness of the ground substance, the strength of the collagen, the elasticity of the elastin, and the supportive networks of reticular fibers all merge into a single, unified material that keeps the body grounded and whole. As you imagine these components, let your thoughts settle into the comfort they provide. This living material surrounds you from within, creating spaces that feel open and safe while also forming the quiet scaffolding that holds your body in shape. Through this balance of firmness, softness, hydration, and structure, the connective tissues maintain an unbroken sense of harmony that allows the body to move through the world gracefully and without effort. And in this calm understanding, you can sense the beauty of a system designed not through force, but through gentle, living support, carrying you through each moment with steadfast, peaceful strength. 4. The quiet diversity of connective tissue types. When we begin to explore the many forms that connective tissue takes throughout the body, it helps to imagine wandering through a peaceful landscape where textures shift gently from soft to firm, from airy to dense, from fluid to solid. Connective tissue is not a single uniform material, but a collection of tissues that each serves its own quiet purpose. Together, they shape the body's inner world, giving it strength, flexibility, and gentle support. The diversity within connective tissues is one of the body's most calming features, because it reveals how thoughtfully the internal structures are arranged. Wherever the body requires softness, the connective tissue becomes tender and yielding. Wherever the body needs strength, it becomes dense and sturdy. And wherever motion, cushioning, or circulation is needed, It transforms into specialized forms that complete those tasks with graceful ease. Imagine beginning this exploration just beneath the surface of the skin, where loose connective tissue lies in serene openness. Here the fibers are spaced widely apart, resting within a soft, hydrated ground substance that allows gentle movement. This tissue does not grip tightly or restrict motion. Instead, it lets the skin glide smoothly over the underlying muscles. It supports small vessels and nerves, giving them room to travel quietly from one region to another. This loose connective tissue is like a soft meadow beneath the surface of the body, with fibers gently swaying in a calm internal atmosphere. It allows flexibility while still providing enough structure to keep everything comfortably in place. As you wander deeper into the body's interior, the tissue begins to change. Loose connective tissue gradually gives way to denser forms, where fibers lie closer together in strong, organized patterns. Dense connective tissue forms tendons and ligaments, the sturdy bands that attach muscles to bones and bones to one another. Picture these fibers aligning in long, parallel waves, forming material capable of supporting weight and transmitting force. Tendons allow muscles to move bones with precision, while ligaments stabilize the joints that make this movement possible. Though these structures are firm and resilient, they still maintain a quiet flexibility, allowing small shifts and stretches as the body moves. Their strength is steady but not harsh, capable of enduring both powerful motions and gentle movements. In other regions, the arrangement of fibers becomes more irregular, creating a form of dense connective tissue that can withstand tension from multiple directions. This tissue lies in areas that experience varied forces, such as the skin's deeper layers or the protective capsules around organs. Unlike tendons, which pull in predictable directions, these areas must adapt to twists, bends, and pressure from all sides. The fibers interweave like the branches of a calm, sturdy forest, able to handle unpredictable patterns of strain without breaking. This diversity in fiber arrangement illustrates how connective tissue changes its form to meet the unique demands of each environment. As the journey continues, the texture of connective tissue shifts yet again into the smooth firmness of cartilage. Cartilage is a specialized form that cushions joints, shapes the nose and ears, and forms the quiet surfaces where bones meet. Instead, it is a smooth, slightly elastic material that absorbs impact and reduces friction. Imagine the gentle glide of one bone against another during movement. Cartilage makes that motion silent and almost effortless. There are different types of cartilage, each with its own calm characteristics. Hyaline cartilage is glassy and smooth, creating the peaceful surfaces of joints. Elastic cartilage is soft and flexible, allowing structures like the ear to bend and return to shape. Fibrocartilage is sturdier and more resilient, cushioning areas such as the spine. This quiet trio of cartilage types demonstrates how connective tissue adapts its texture for shock absorption, shape, and flexibility. Further inward, the tissue transforms once more into bone, the most solid and supportive form of connective tissue. Although it feels hard on the outside, bone is alive and dynamic, continuously renewing itself. Its inner architecture is full of calm patterns, with compact bone forming strong outer layers and spongy bone creating gentle networks of supportive beams inside. Bone provides structure and protection, keeping vital organs safe while allowing the body to stand, move, and rest. It is the firmest example of how connective tissue can evolve to meet specific needs. Yet even here, strength is balanced with lightness, as the inner lattice of spongy bone prevents the skeleton from being overly heavy. This thoughtful balance allows for both stability and graceful motion. Connective tissue also takes on a fluid form in blood, which circulates throughout the body in constant motion. Though very different from the solid and fibrous types encountered earlier, blood is considered a connective tissue because it connects all regions of the body, delivering nourishment, transporting oxygen, and carrying cells that maintain health. Imagine it flowing gently through vessels, supporting tissues with the quiet persistence of a soft river. Blood reflects the adaptability of connective tissue in its ability to shift form entirely to fulfill the needs of internal communication, transport, and protection. Another fluid form of connective tissue is lymph, which flows through a network of vessels parallel to the bloodstream. While blood carries nutrients and oxygen, lymph carries away excess fluid, supports immune functions, and maintains a sense of internal balance. Its calm, clear movement mirrors the body's quiet processes of renewal and cleansing. It is a reminder that not all connective tissues hold structures firmly in place. Some move through the body with quiet grace, maintaining harmony from within. Returning to the more structural forms of connective tissue, fascia is one of the most continuous and subtle examples. It wraps around muscles, bones, and organs like an uninterrupted sheet of soft yet resilient material. Fascia holds everything in gentle alignment, allowing muscles to glide smoothly while maintaining overall shape. When imagining fascia, picture a mist-like layer weaving through the interior, connecting distant regions and providing a sense of wholeness. It does not pull harshly or compress tightly. Instead, it adapts to the body's contours and changes with motion, rest, and time. This quiet diversity is what makes connective tissue so extraordinary. No matter where you look within the body, a form of connective tissue is present, softly tailored to suit the needs of the surrounding structures. Whether the body requires softness or strength, flexibility or stability, fluidity or firmness, connective tissue changes its form with thoughtful precision. It crosses boundaries between systems, linking the muscular system to the skeletal system, the circulatory system to the immune system, and the skin to the tissues beneath. It creates bridges, cushions, pathways, and boundaries, shaping the body as a unified whole. In the calm language of the body, connective tissue communicates continuity. It ensures that no part is isolated or unsupported. Every movement, every breath, every position of rest engages this quiet, diverse network. Even when the body lies perfectly still, the connective tissues remain active in their own serene way, holding, adjusting, and gently balancing the form. This diversity allows the body to function with seamless ease, providing support where needed and yielding where softness is required. As you imagine this wide variety of tissues, each with its own gentle purpose, it becomes clear that the body's internal world is rich with texture and harmony. Connective tissue adapts, transforms, and balances itself to maintain comfort and stability. And in its quiet diversity, it reveals a deeper truth. The body is not simply built, it is thoughtfully shaped, supported, and unified by the many forms of connective tissue working together in calm and continuous cooperation. 5. Loose connective tissue, the comfortable cushioning of the body. When we turn our attention to loose connective tissue, it is as though we are stepping into one of the softest, most welcoming regions of the body's inner world. This tissue is gentle, pliable, and quietly supportive, filling the spaces between organs, surrounding small vessels and nerves, and forming a soft bedding that helps the body move without friction or strain. It is the body's natural cushion, neither dense nor rigid, but light and airy, like a calm meadow where delicate fibers drift through a lightly hydrated landscape. This tissue does not force the body into any strict shape. Instead, it provides a sense of ease and flexibility, allowing structures to adjust subtly as you breathe, stretch, and settle. Loose connective tissue is composed of an abundant ground substance, a gel-like material that is rich with water and dissolved molecules. This hydrated matrix gives the tissue its soft, yielding nature. When you imagine this tissue up close, you might picture a gentle mist or a fine cloud of moisture enveloping every part of the space it fills. It is neither empty nor tightly packed. Instead, it gently holds everything in place, while still giving each structure room to shift when needed. This quality is what allows the skin to move over muscles without friction, and it is what lets organs settle comfortably within the body cavity without feeling compressed or restricted. Floating within this hydrated matrix are fibers, mostly collagen and elastin, arranged in loosely scattered patterns. Unlike dense connective tissue, where fibers lie tightly bundled, the fibers here behave more like soft, stretching threads, drifting in a gentle current. Collagen fibers offer subtle strength, preventing the tissue from tearing when stretched. Elastin fibers bring light, spring-like elasticity, allowing the tissue to return to its original shape after being pulled or compressed. But neither fiber dominates. They both share the landscape in a balanced, relaxed arrangement that contributes to the tissue's overall softness. Loose connective tissue also contains a variety of cells, each one performing quiet, continuous tasks that keep the tissue healthy. Fibroblasts drift within the matrix, producing new fibers as needed and repairing tiny disruptions that inevitably occur with daily movement. Adipocytes, or fat cells, may be present as well, storing small pockets of energy and adding to the cushioning effect. Immune cells occasionally rest within this tissue, ready to respond if needed, but usually existing peacefully without calling attention to themselves. Together, these cells create an atmosphere of steady, unhurried care, one that supports both comfort and calm balance within the body. One of the most familiar forms of loose connective tissue is areolar tissue, a soft, almost delicate material found beneath the skin and around organs. Areolar tissue might be imagined as a gentle mesh of fibers, lightly holding structures in place without gripping or restricting them. It acts as a protective padding layer, wrapping around nerves and blood vessels like a quiet guardian. This tissue is also important for supplying nutrients and removing waste, since its expansive, open structure allows fluid to flow freely. When you shift your position in bed or stretch gently after waking, it is the areolar tissue beneath your skin that allows that movement to occur without tension, catching the motion with a softness that feels effortless. Another form, adipose tissue, brings a deeper sense of comfort. Adipose tissue is composed primarily of adipocytes, cells that store energy in the form of fat. Though often discussed in functional or nutritional terms, adipose tissue also provides warmth, cushioning, and shape. You might imagine it as the body's natural insulation, offering gentle padding beneath the skin and around organs. It protects delicate structures from the pressures of movement, sitting, or lying down. In a calm, restful context, adipose tissue serves as a reminder that the body is designed not only for function but also for comfort, offering softness in places where rigidity would cause strain. A third type of loose connective tissue, reticular tissue, creates delicate networks that support soft organs such as the spleen, lymph nodes, and bone marrow. Reticular fibers are thinner and more fragile than other types of collagen, forming quiet, branching frameworks that cradle cells and fluids without restricting them. Reticular tissue resembles an intricate, lace-like pattern, allowing these organs to maintain shape while still remaining soft and permeable. It is a perfect example of how the body can create structure without imposing stiffness, offering a gentle sense of containment that still allows everything within the organ to move freely. Loose connective tissue contributes to nearly every quiet, supportive function within the body. When you breathe deeply, it stretches softly to accommodate the rise and fall of organs. When you move, it glides smoothly, allowing layers of tissue to shift without friction. When you rest, it cushions and warms, providing subtle pressure relief that helps the body settle into a comfortable position. Even the simplest sensation of ease, such as the feeling of your skin resting gently against the body beneath it, is made possible by the presence of this soft connective layer. Because loose connective tissue contains so much fluid, it also plays an important role in maintaining hydration within the body. It acts like a reservoir, drawing in water when the body has excess and releasing it gently when needed. This fluid balance contributes to the supple, healthy feel of the skin and helps tissues remain resilient rather than brittle, providing nourishment and gentle cooling to the cells around it. There is also a quiet adaptability to loose connective tissue. When an area of the body experiences tension over time, fibers within the tissue may realign or increase slightly in density, giving additional support where it is needed. When tension decreases, the tissue may soften again, returning to a more open structure. This flexibility makes loose connective tissue a living material that responds gracefully to the body's shifting patterns of movement and stillness. Perhaps the most soothing aspect of loose connective tissue is the way it fills the quiet spaces within the body. It does not ask for attention. It simply exists as a soft presence, ensuring that nothing rubs too harshly, presses too firmly, or feels unsupported. It is the tissue that lets the body feel comfortable in its own shape. It allows organs to rest gently against one another. It provides the subtle glide that makes movement smooth. It creates a sense of space and ease that permeates the body from the surface of the skin to the deepest cavities. As you imagine this soft landscape, filled with gentle fibers and hydrated spaces, you can sense the role that loose connective tissue plays in supporting peace and comfort throughout the body. It is a reminder that stability does not always come from firmness, and that support can be soft, spacious, and quietly adaptable. Loose connective tissue embodies the idea that the body is designed not only for strength and movement, but also for rest, ease, and gentle balance. 6. Adipose tissue, energy, stored in stillness. As we move gently deeper into the world of connective tissues, we come to a form that is both familiar and quietly essential: adipose tissue. Though often associated with energy storage or body shape, adipose tissue is far more soothing and comforting in its purpose than many realize. It offers warmth, protection, cushioning, and gentle stability to nearly every region of the body. In the calm interior landscape, adipose tissue behaves like a soft blanket laid thoughtfully between structures, guarding them against pressure and absorbing subtle impacts. It is a tissue made for stillness, for rest, for creating spaces of comfort within the body. When we see it through the soft lens of calm anatomy, adipose tissue becomes a symbol of gentle preservation and silent support. Adipose tissue is composed of cells known as adipocytes, each one shaped like a round, peaceful reservoir filled with stored energy. These cells do not rush or strain. They expand and contract slowly over time, storing nutrients when available and releasing them when needed. This slow rhythm reflects the nature of adipose tissue itself: steady, unhurried. The energy stored within these cells is not meant for immediate, sudden use. Instead, it acts as a calm reserve, waiting quietly for moments when the body may benefit from its warmth or nourishment. These adipocytes gather in clusters, forming soft pockets of tissue in areas beneath the skin, around internal organs, and between layers of muscle. You might imagine these clusters as gentle, pale gold beads suspended within a faintly translucent matrix. They are not tightly packed like the fibers of tendons or ligaments. Instead, they rest comfortably beside one another, forming a structure that feels more like a cushion than a rope. The spaces between the cells are filled with a small amount of connective fibers and a light ground substance that helps hold everything in quiet arrangement. Because adipose tissue contains relatively few fibers compared to other forms of connective tissue, it remains soft and yielding, molding itself to the shapes around it. One of the most calming qualities of adipose tissue is the warmth it provides. Fat acts as a natural insulator, helping the body maintain a steady internal temperature even when the external environment shifts. You might imagine adipose tissue as a quiet shield wrapped around the organs, keeping them gently warmed and protected from sudden changes. This warmth is not active or burning. It is passive, steady, like the comfort of a blanket held lightly over the body on a cool evening. Its presence helps ensure that the body continues its inner processes smoothly, without abrupt fluctuations. It softens the contact between bones, muscles, and organs, preventing harsh impacts and reducing the strain of daily movement. Around the kidneys, for example, adipose tissue forms a protective padding that keeps these delicate organs from being jostled. Beneath the skin, it creates a gentle layer that allows the entire body to settle comfortably when sitting or lying down. Even small movements, such as shifting positions in sleep. This quiet cushioning effect is one of the reasons the body feels naturally comfortable in many of its resting positions. Another important, though understated, role of adipose tissue is its involvement in hormone regulation. Adipocytes release signaling molecules that help maintain balance in hunger, metabolism, and energy use. These signals do not act with urgency. They unfold slowly, guiding the body's rhythms over long periods. In this way, adipose tissue helps create a sense of continuity and steadiness in the body's internal environment. It communicates gently, adjusting its messages according to the body's needs, contributing to a feeling of long-term equilibrium. Adipose tissue also responds to changes in lifestyle, movement, and nutrition, but it does so gradually. When the body stores more energy, adipocytes expand. When it uses energy, they shrink. This responsiveness is not chaotic but measured, adapting to life's patterns in a slow, reflective way. These cells remember periods of abundance and scarcity, adjusting their size and number in accordance with the body's long-term tendencies. Even during rest, adipose tissue participates in this subtle dance of storage and release, maintaining a balance that supports overall well-being. There are two primary types of adipose tissue: white adipose tissue and brown adipose tissue. White adipose tissue is the more abundant type, storing energy in large droplets and acting as the body's primary source of long-term fuel. Brown adipose tissue, by contrast, is more specialized. It contains numerous small droplets and abundant mitochondria, which allow it to generate warmth in a more active, thermogenic manner. Brown adipose tissue is especially prominent in infants, helping them maintain body heat in their early months of life. In adults, it remains in small pockets, often in the upper torso, offering a quiet, localized source of warmth. Both types of adipose tissue contribute to comfort and survival, each in its own soft and steady way. Throughout the body, adipose tissue blends seamlessly with other connective tissues. Beneath the skin, it merges with layers of areolar tissue, creating a soft foundation that shapes the body's surface. Around organs, it mingles with denser forms of connective material, providing support without stiffness. Within muscles, small deposits may form between fibers, offering subtle cushioning that enhances flexibility. This blending reveals adipose tissue as an adaptable companion to the body's broader network of connective structures. It does not dominate or overwhelm. Instead, it fills spaces with quiet purpose, enhancing both form and comfort. It is easy to think of adipose tissue simply as stored energy, but in reality, it influences the body in ways that are deeply connected to feelings of ease. Touching the outside of the body, the soft layers felt beneath the skin are often adipose tissue. This softness contributes to the comforting sensation of rest and relaxation. Without it, the body would feel noticeably less cushioned, more rigid. The presence of adipose tissue allows for a sense of natural, gentle padding that makes everyday movements and moments of stillness feel calmer and more comfortable. Adipose tissue also participates in the healing process. When tissues are inflamed or damaged, nearby adipocytes respond by releasing molecules that help guide repair. These signals encourage the growth of new blood vessels and help regulate the activity of other cells involved in healing. Though adipose tissue is not the primary healer, its supportive presence ensures that recovery happens with the necessary balance and nourishment. As we reflect on the role of adipose tissue, it becomes clear that its presence is inseparable from comfort, warmth, and gentle support. It embodies the quiet wisdom of the body within, and providing insulation that keeps the body's temperature steady. In its stillness, adipose tissue teaches us that strength can also be gentle. When imagined as part of the broader connective tissue network, adipose tissue becomes even more meaningful. It fills the inner spaces with softness, ensures comfort during rest, and carries a sense of silent readiness, holding energy that can be released when needed, yet never demanding attention. In this way, Adipose tissue contributes not only to physical stability but also to the body's sense of calm continuity, weaving warmth and comfort through every quiet movement and peaceful pause. 7. Dense, regular connective tissue, tendons and ligaments, in silent alignment. As we travel deeper through the landscape of connective tissues, the scene slowly shifts from the soft openness of loose tissue and the gentle cushioning of adipose stores to something more deliberately arranged, more steadfast, and more focused. Here we encounter dense, regular connective tissue, a material designed not for softness or pliability, but for quiet strength and reliable direction. This form of connective tissue is found in tendons and ligaments, two structures that hold the body together with serene precision. When imagined in the calm language of anatomy, dense, regular connective tissue resembles long, carefully aligned fibers, stretching like peaceful ribbons through the body, offering stability without rigidity and guidance without strain. Where loose connective tissue feels like a soft meadow, dense, regular connective tissue feels more like well-organized strands of natural rope, lying parallel to one another, with a sense of purpose. These fibers, primarily collagen, run in long, unbroken lines that create a structure capable of withstanding tension along a single, predictable direction. You might imagine them as long beams of gentle strength, arranged with thoughtful intention. They do not twist or branch unpredictably. Instead, they rest side by side, forming sturdy pathways that allow the force of muscle contractions to travel toward the bones or help hold bones together at their joints. Tendons are among the most remarkable expressions of this tissue. Each tendon anchors a muscle to a bone, acting as a translator between the living softness of muscle and the firm mineral structure of the skeleton. When a muscle contracts, it pulls ever so slightly on the tendon, and the tendon, with its unwavering alignment, transmits this pull to the bone, initiating movement. In this way, tendons behave like gentle intermediaries, connecting the expressive, flexible nature of muscle with the dependable stability of bone. Without tendons, even the strongest muscle contractions would produce little motion. With them, movement becomes fluid, controlled, and harmonious. Tendons are not loud in their work. They do not pulse or expand like muscles, nor do they shift fluidly like blood or lymph. Their role is one of steady, quiet transmission. You might imagine the fibers of a tendon gliding past one another only slightly, held firmly in parallel bundles that guide force with unwavering dedication. Their alignment reflects the direction of movement they support, making them exceptionally strong when pulled along their length. This calm, directional strength makes tendons ideal partners in nearly every movement of daily life, from the gentle lifting of a cup to the subtle adjustments of posture as we sit or lie down. Ligaments, though similar in structure, serve a slightly different purpose. Instead of connecting muscle to bone, ligaments connect bone to bone, stabilizing joints and guiding their natural range of motion. You might think of ligaments as serene guardians of the joints, ensuring that the bones remain aligned and move only within safe, appropriate boundaries. They do not restrict motion harshly. Rather, they offer quiet resistance when movement approaches its limits, reminding the body to remain balanced and protected. Their fibers, like those in tendons, run parallel, giving them strength along predictable paths of tension. But ligaments often contain slightly more elastin than tendons, allowing for small degrees of stretch before returning to their original length. This combination of stability and gentle flexibility makes ligaments essential to nearly every joint. In the knees, they guide the delicate interplay of bones as we walk, bend, and sit. In the spine, they help maintain alignment while allowing the softness of movement needed for bending and twisting. In the fingers, they coordinate finely tuned movements, keeping each joint precise and fluid. Ligaments remain quiet through all these actions. Their presence ensures that the body moves with grace and safety, anchored by the silent integrity they provide. Dense regular connective tissue is composed not only of collagen fibers but also of specialized cells known as fibroblasts. These cells rest between the fibers, quietly maintaining the tissue by producing new collagen when needed and repairing small disruptions caused by daily wear. Their activity is slow and patient, reflecting the tissue's long-term role in stability and movement. Unlike faster, more reactive tissues, dense regular connective tissue undergoes change gradually. When stressed repeatedly, it adapts by strengthening its fibers, aligning them more firmly along the direction of force. When given rest, it softens and reorganizes slightly, maintaining its ability to meet the body's evolving patterns of movement. Because of its highly organized structure, dense, regular connective tissue does not contain abundant blood vessels. This limited blood supply contributes to its quietness, its slow response to injury, its gradual pace of healing, and its steady endurance. While this may seem like a limitation, it is also part of what gives tendons and ligaments their strength. With fewer vessels and less fluid, the tissue remains tightly packed and resistant to excessive stretching. It is a tissue designed for longevity, for predictable motion, and for supporting repetitive cycles of movement over a lifetime. In imagining this tissue, one might picture the long, shimmering strands of collagen resting in smooth alignment, illuminated by a gentle internal light. These fibers do not work alone. They form bundles, and those bundles form even larger bands, all oriented in the direction of pull or stabilization. Each fiber contributes a small measure of strength, and together they create a structure capable of quietly enduring the daily demands of movement. Whether supporting a simple action like reaching for a book or a complex motion like turning the body during sleep, these fibers guide the forces in ways that feel natural and harmonious. Dense, regular connective tissue also participates indirectly in the body's sense of balance and coordination. Within tendons, tiny sensory receptors respond to tension and stretch. These signals are subtle. They act like whispers guiding the body towards smoother control. In ligaments, similar receptors help the brain understand the position of joints in space, ensuring that posture remains steady even in moments of deep relaxation. Though their primary role is structural, tendons and ligaments also contribute to the body's sense of internal awareness, adding to the quiet intelligence that governs movement. In moments of rest, when the muscles soften and the joints settle into comfortable positions, the tendons and ligaments continue their silent work. They maintain alignment, gently supporting the weight of the limbs and preserving the natural architecture of the body. They do not require energy to hold this supportive form. Their very structure provides the necessary stability. This passive strength allows the body to feel secure in stillness, held together by materials designed for dependable, peaceful support. The quiet alignment of dense, regular connective tissue teaches us something about the body's broader design. It shows that strength does not always need to be forceful. It can be steady, calm, and directional. The tendons and ligaments do not seek attention. They serve in the background, supporting every motion with quiet dedication. Their fibers, aligned like soft rays of internal structure, create a sense of order that allows movement to unfold smoothly and without strain. As we reflect on dense, regular connective tissue, we can appreciate how thoughtfully the body distributes its strength. It places sturdy tendons where force must be guided and places reliable ligaments where joints must be protected. It aligns fibers precisely where they are needed most. And through these arrangements, the body moves with a sense of natural ease, each motion supported by the silent, dependable presence of these beautifully organized structures. 8. Dense, irregular tissue strength in many directions. As we continue our calm exploration of the connective tissues of the body, we encounter a type that does not follow the orderly, parallel patterns of dense regular tissue. Instead, it spreads its fibers in many directions, weaving a quiet, resilient fabric capable of withstanding tension from nearly every angle. This material is known as dense, irregular connective tissue, and it can be imagined as the body's way of preparing for the unpredictable. Where tendons and ligaments pull in straight, steady lines, dense, irregular connective tissue supports regions of the body that twist, bend, rotate, and stretch in more complex ways. It does not respond to a single direction of force, but to all of them, offering a steady strength that remains peaceful and adaptable. If we picture the body as a gentle landscape, dense, irregular connective tissue would resemble the deep-rooted undergrowth of a forest, with fibers branching and intersecting in organic, unpatterned designs. There is no clear alignment, no straight rows of fibers lying neatly side by side. Instead, collagen fibers seem to wander in every direction, crossing over one another like the intertwining roots of trees that steady the ground. This multi-directional arrangement is not chaotic. It is intentionally formed to meet the varied demands placed upon it. The beauty of this design lies in its ability to absorb and distribute force evenly. One of the best examples of where this tissue thrives is in the dermis, the deeper layer of the skin. The skin must stretch, compress, twist, and return to shape through countless movements each day. It must resist pulling forces when the arm reaches out. Dense, irregular tissue provides the support needed for this dynamic environment. It lies beneath the smoother, more delicate epidermis, forming a strong yet flexible foundation that prevents the skin from tearing or overstretching. The fibers extend like quiet anchors beneath the surface, keeping the skin durable while allowing it to move freely. This tissue is also found surrounding organs, forming protective capsules that keep them secure while still allowing gentle shifts in position. The kidneys, for example, rely on a layer of dense, irregular tissue to maintain their shape and position as the body bends or rotates. Joints are often supported by it as well, especially in the areas where bones meet and glide against one another. Surrounding fascia, tendons, muscles, and bones, this tissue contributes a steady reinforcement that steadies the surrounding anatomy. It does not need to resist a single, predictable path of force. Instead, it quietly supports the complexity of movement and pressure that occurs throughout daily life. Dense, irregular connective tissue is rich in collagen fibers, more so than elastin, giving it substantial strength. But because these fibers extend in many directions, the tissue remains flexible enough to accommodate the varied motions of the body. This difference in fiber arrangement is what separates dense, irregular tissue from the orderly formations of dense, regular tissue. The fibers are still strong, still resilient, but not arranged in a uniform pattern. Instead, they intersect at various angles, creating a net-like structure that gently restrains excessive movement while allowing normal motions to occur without stress. The fibroblasts within this tissue play an important role as well. They produce and maintain the collagen fibers, working slowly and patiently to reinforce the tissue as needed. When an area of the body experiences frequent strain, fibroblasts may increase collagen production, adding to the tissue's strength. When the area experiences less demand, the tissue may soften slightly, conserving resources while still maintaining structural integrity. This responsiveness reflects the body's natural tendency to adapt over time, strengthening the structures that require support and relaxing those that do not. The fibroblasts work not with urgency but with a quiet attentiveness, responding to the body's needs with subtle, gradual adjustments. The ground substance within dense, irregular tissue, though not as abundant as in loose connective tissue, still plays an important role. It fills the spaces between fibers, keeping them hydrated and cushioning the micro-movements that occur as the tissue stretches. Imagine this ground substance as a gentle, gel-like environment that allows fibers to slide and adjust slightly. This hydration is essential for flexibility and resilience, ensuring that the tissue can resist tension without tearing. In areas where the body must balance strength with protection, dense, irregular connective tissue forms thick, layered structures. For example, The protective membranes surrounding the brain and spinal cord contain dense, irregular layers that shield delicate neural tissue while still allowing the subtle movements necessary for comfort and function. In the digestive system, this tissue reinforces the walls of organs that expand and contract continuously, such as the stomach and intestines. Its multidirectional fibers allow these organs to change shape as they carry out their work. When imagined through the calming lens of gentle anatomy, dense, irregular tissue becomes a symbol of quiet resilience. It shows us that strength does not always come from predictability or order. Sometimes strength arises from adaptability, from the ability to distribute tension and remain steady even when forces are uncertain. Dense, irregular connective tissue embodies this principle with its branching, interwoven fibers that prepare for anything the body may encounter. It also contributes to the overall harmony of the connective tissue system. While loose connective tissue offers softness, and dense regular tissue supplies directional stability, dense irregular tissue fills a different niche, ready to support the body when movement is complex and unpredictable. It enhances the sense of whole-body unity, ensuring that regions exposed to varied forces remain secure and balanced. Even when the body twists in sleep or shifts weight unexpectedly, this tissue maintains its quiet, constant support. As we imagine this tissue more deeply, we can appreciate how it contributes to the body's feeling of comfort and security. When you bend, stretch, or twist without strain, dense, irregular tissue plays a silent role in protecting the underlying structures. When your skin returns to its shape after pressure, this tissue guides that return. When organs remain safe and steady despite the movements of breathing or posture, dense, irregular tissue is at work, creating a subtle foundation that holds everything softly in place. This tissue reminds us that the body is built not only for predictable patterns, but also for life's variability. It supports us regardless of how we move, how we rest, or how we shift throughout the day. Its fibers, woven like the quiet undergrowth of a forest, reflect the body's ability to remain strong, even in the face of uncertainty. Dense, irregular connective tissue is the calm readiness within the body, prepared for every gentle motion, every rotation, and every change in direction. It serves as a quiet promise that the body can adapt with grace, held together by a material designed for strength without rigidity and flexibility without fragility. 9. Cartilage, the smooth, silent shock absorber. Cartilage is one of the most serene and quietly functional tissues in the entire body. It does not draw attention to itself, nor does it participate in dramatic movements or fast responses. Instead, it offers a softness that coexists with strength, a smoothness that protects, and a steady resilience that carries the body through years of motion. Cartilage exists wherever the body requires silent cushioning between bones, within joints, along the breathing passages, and in the gentle curves of the ears and nose. It is a tissue designed to absorb, to support, and to soften. When imagined through a calm, sleep-friendly lens, cartilage appears like quiet, pale blue stone, polished by time, smooth to the touch and slightly springy under gentle pressure. It does not feel brittle or sharp. Instead, it carries a soothing firmness, like a river-smoothed pebble. The body uses cartilage in places where bones might otherwise rub painfully against one another. By placing this resilient, specialized tissue between them, the body creates a peaceful buffer, one that allows joints to glide effortlessly from one position to the next. Cartilage is unique among connective tissues because it contains no nerves and no direct blood supply. This means it does not feel, and it does not sense touch or pain. It is a silent presence, supporting the body without sending signals or drawing attention. Nutrients reach it only by diffusing slowly through the surrounding fluid or through the tissues around it. This gentle exchange keeps cartilage alive, though it also means that cartilage heals slowly when damaged. Yet even in this slow healing, there is a sense of patience, a reminder that the body does not rush every process. Some structures are designed to endure with quiet steadiness, rather than constant renewal. The cells within cartilage are known as chondrocytes. These small, rounded cells rest comfortably within tiny spaces in the matrix, called lacunae. If you imagine cartilage up close, these cells appear like calm, glowing lanterns scattered throughout a smooth, gel-like landscape. They are the caretakers of the cartilage matrix, producing and maintaining the fibers and ground substance that give the tissue its strength and elasticity. Though few in number compared to other tissues, chondrocytes work with careful intention, slowly adjusting the matrix to keep it healthy and balanced. The ground substance of cartilage is firm yet flexible, enriched with molecules that attract and hold water. This hydration gives cartilage its ability to absorb shock, much like a moist sponge that compresses gently under pressure and then returns to its original shape. The matrix also contains collagen fibers, arranged in patterns that support the tissue's function. Depending on the type of cartilage, these fibers may be fine and delicate or thick and robust. There are 3 primary types of cartilage, each with its own quiet character and purpose. Hyaline cartilage is the most widespread. It lines the ends of bones and joints, forms the supportive rings of the respiratory tract, and shapes the soft structures of the nose and rib cage. Hyaline cartilage appears smooth and glassy, offering the lowest friction surface in the body. When 2 bones meet within a joint, this cartilage allows them to move against each other with a softness that feels almost effortless. It absorbs pressure, protects the underlying bone, and ensures that movement remains fluid. Even in moments of deep rest, the presence of hyaline cartilage ensures that the joints feel comfortable and aligned. Elastic cartilage, as its name suggests, adds a gentle flexibility to structures that require both form and resilience. It contains more elastin fibers, making it able to bend and return to shape repeatedly. It forms the structure of the outer ear, allowing it to flex without losing its gentle curves. It also supports the epiglottis, the small flap that guides food and air along their proper paths in the throat. This type of cartilage is a reminder that the body can maintain shape while still adapting, holding form with quiet elasticity, able to recover from movement without strain. Fibrocartilage, the 3rd type, is strong and densely packed with collagen fibers. It is found in places where the body needs serious shock absorption, such as the intervertebral discs between the vertebrae and the menisci of the knee. These regions endure compression, twisting, bending, and shifting as part of everyday movement. Fibrocartilage responds by offering strength paired with subtle, controlled flexibility. It does not bend as easily as elastic cartilage or appear as smooth as hyaline cartilage, but it brings a steady sturdiness that protects the spine, hips, and knees from excessive impact. Cartilage also plays a foundational role during early development. Before the bones of the skeleton harden, they begin as cartilage templates. Over time, in a process known as endochondral ossification, this cartilage is quietly replaced by bone, providing a gentle transition from a flexible early form to a more rigid adult form. Even as adults, cartilage remains at the growing ends of long bones, supporting slow, steady changes throughout childhood and adolescence. In this way, cartilage provides both a beginning and an ongoing influence on the shape and mechanics of the body. One of the most soothing aspects of cartilage is the way it supports movement. Every time you bend a knee, rise from a chair, reach for something softly, or shift during sleep, cartilage cushions the forces involved. It prevents bones from grating against one another. It allows joints to rotate smoothly. It absorbs subtle impacts that might otherwise travel sharply through the body. Movements that feel gentle and pain-free are often possible because of the quiet presence of cartilage beneath the surface. Cartilage also contributes to the body's overall sense of structure and shape. Without it, the ears would not curl so softly, the nose would not hold its gentle contours, and the rib cage would not expand as fluidly with each breath. Even within the throat and airways, cartilage keeps passages open and steady, allowing the breath to flow calmly. Its presence supports both form and function in ways that are usually unnoticed unless something disturbs its peaceful balance. Because cartilage has no nerves, it often becomes one of the truly silent partners within the body, working continuously, absorbing shock, guiding motion, shaping surfaces, and never calling attention to itself. It can be thought of as the quiet foundation beneath countless movements, a tissue that simply exists in calm reliability. As you imagine cartilage now, you may picture it as a smooth, tranquil layer within the joints, laid down like polished stone and shaped with care. You may see it as a soft, springy support beneath the spine, or as the quiet framework guiding the breath. In every role, cartilage remains consistent in its purpose: to protect, to cushion, and to ensure that movement feels natural and comfortable. Cartilage teaches a gentle lesson about the body's design. It shows how much ease is built into our movements, how much quiet support exists beneath every shift and breath. It allows for softness instead of friction, smoothness instead of strain, and silent resilience instead of rigid resistance. And through its steady presence, it helps the entire body remain balanced, fluid, and at peace. 10. Bone tissue, the inner architecture of support. Bone tissue, though firm and enduring, is one of the most quietly remarkable connective tissues in the entire body. Many people imagine bone as something rigid and lifeless, but in truth, bone is alive, dynamic, and continuously renewing itself. It is a tissue that balances strength with lightness, stability with adaptability, and protection with quiet internal movement. When viewed through a calm, sleep-friendly lens, bone becomes a serene framework, an inner architecture that supports every motion, shelters vital organs, and gives the body its shape with gentle steadfastness. If you imagine the body as a peaceful landscape, the bones form its silent mountains and gentle pillars, rising beneath the surface to offer structure without imposing weight. They do not shift dramatically, nor do they demand awareness. They simply exist in a steady, enduring way, allowing other tissues to move freely around them. Despite their solid appearance, bones are far from uniform. Their outer surfaces feel firm and smooth, while the inner regions contain airy, delicate patterns that resemble intricate natural lattices. This contrast between outer strength and inner openness reveals the thoughtful design of bone tissue, designed not only for durability but also for quiet efficiency. The outer layer of bone is known as compact bone. It forms a dense, protective shell that withstands the forces of daily life. This layer protects the softer tissues within, shields the organs it surrounds, and provides a firm surface for muscles and tendons to anchor. Its dense structure allows bones to endure the pressure of walking, sitting, lifting, and countless other activities. Yet, despite this strength, compact bone is not heavy. It is arranged in circular patterns that give it incredible resilience, while keeping the weight of the skeleton surprisingly light. Within the compact bone lies spongy bone, also called cancellous bone. Unlike the name suggests, spongy bone is not soft like a sponge. Rather, it is a delicate lattice of thin beams called trabeculae. These beams branch gently in patterns that reflect the stresses placed on the bone, adjusting as needed over time. When visualized softly, spongy bone resembles a quiet network of interwoven bridges, forming small, open spaces filled with bone marrow. It also acts as a protective cushion, absorbing forces that might travel sharply through more solid material. The marrow within these spaces holds its own quiet beauty. In children, much of the bone marrow is red marrow rich with cells that produce the body's blood. This gentle process of blood formation, called hematopoiesis, occurs continuously and silently within the bones. As we grow older, some red marrow transforms into yellow marrow, filled with adipose tissue that provides energy reserves. Whether red or yellow, marrow contributes to the body's internal harmony, supporting life from within the peaceful interior of the bones. Bone tissue is alive with cellular activity, Three main types of cells guide its construction and maintenance: osteoblasts, osteocytes, and osteoclasts. Osteoblasts are the builders. You might imagine them as calm, patient artisans laying down new bone material with quiet precision. They slowly form the matrix that gives bone its strength, adding minerals such as calcium and phosphate to harden the tissue. Once trapped within the matrix they help create, these osteoblasts become osteocytes, quiet caretakers that monitor the bone's condition, communicating with one another through tiny channels and maintaining the tissue's long-term stability. Osteoclasts, on the other hand, are the gentle recyclers. Their task is to remove old or damaged bone tissue so that new bone can replace it. Though their work might sound destructive, it is actually a crucial part of the bone's adaptability. By balancing the activity of osteoblasts and osteoclasts, the body ensures that bones remain strong, healthy, and responsive. This steady cycle of building and renewal allows bones to adapt to new movements, shifts in posture, and changes in activity levels. It is a slow, balanced dance, one that unfolds quietly, day after day, without conscious awareness. One of the most calming aspects of bone tissue is its innate intelligence. When certain regions of a bone experience repeated pressure, the trabeculae within spongy bone rearrange themselves over time to support that pattern. When a person begins a new activity, such as gentle walking or stretching, bones adjust gradually to meet the new demands. This responsiveness makes bones feel almost like living sculptures, shaped by the life they support, strengthened by the movements they experience. Bones also serve as guardians of vital organs. The skull protects the brain, forming a smooth, rounded shield around its delicate tissue. The ribs create a gentle cage around the heart and lungs, expanding softly with each breath. The vertebrae stack in a calm alignment, protecting the spinal cord while still allowing the spine to bend and twist. Even the pelvis supports and shelters internal organs with quiet strength. This protective nature reveals another essential truth about bones. They do not exist only for movement. They also provide a sense of internal safety. In addition to protection and movement, bones house minerals essential for the body's balance. They store calcium and phosphorus in their matrix, releasing them slowly into the bloodstream when needed. This controlled release helps maintain stable levels of minerals in the body, ensuring efficient muscle contraction, nerve function, and cell communication. The bones act as a reserve, giving gently when the body requires support and replenishing themselves through nourishment. This mineral exchange reflects a quiet partnership between bone tissue and the rest of the body, a continuous dialogue that sustains both structure and vitality. The joints, where bones meet, bring additional layers of softness and movement to the skeletal system. At these junctions, cartilage cushions the bones, synovial fluid lubricates the space between them, and ligaments provide support. Bones contribute to this harmony by forming smooth, rounded surfaces that glide gently against one another. Without bone tissue shaped so precisely, even simple movements would become uncomfortable. But because bones are designed with awareness of motion, joints remain fluid and comfortable, adapting effortlessly to restful or active positions. In moments of stillness, the bones become especially meaningful. When you lie down, the skeleton supports your form with quiet constancy, maintaining the body's alignment without effort. When you breathe slowly, the ribs move subtly, expanding and settling without strain. When you drift toward sleep, the bones remain steady beneath you, holding the body in its natural shape. This stability allows the muscles to relax fully, knowing that the skeleton will hold the structure of the body with ease. Bone tissue, when viewed with gentleness, becomes a silent companion throughout life. Strong but not rigid, resilient but not unyielding, it adapts softly to new patterns, protects without pressing, and holds without constraining. It reminds us that strength can be serene, that structure can coexist with lightness, and that support can be offered quietly rather than forcefully. Through its intricate matrix, Its patient cellular activity, its protective architecture, and its subtle adaptability. Bone tissue forms the foundation of the body's peaceful movement and restful stillness. It is a reminder that beneath every quiet breath and every gentle motion lies a framework shaped by balance, resilience, and the silent beauty of living support. 11. Blood, the flowing connective tissue moving through every moment. Among all the connective tissues in the body, blood is perhaps the most quietly transformative. While bone holds the body upright, cartilage cushions the joints, and dense tissues guide movement, blood weaves gently through every region, carrying nourishment, warmth, and balance. It is the only connective tissue that flows, the only one that travels endlessly through its pathways, bridging distant parts of the body with calm constancy. Despite its fluid nature, it still fulfills the defining qualities of connective tissue linking systems, supporting internal harmony and maintaining the quiet equilibrium that allows the body to function smoothly. When imagined in a soft, sleep-focused way, blood becomes a warm, steady river flowing through the landscape of the body, drifting through expansive channels and narrow passages with patient rhythm. Blood is made of two primary components: the plasma, which is the clear fluid that carries nutrients, and the formed elements, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets, which move gently within that fluid. Plasma, though often overlooked, is a peaceful medium in which countless molecules drift. It contains electrolytes, hormones, proteins, and nutrients dissolved in a lightly golden solution. You might imagine it as a quiet, luminous stream that reflects the internal glow of the body. This plasma circulates through arteries, veins, and capillaries, carrying warmth and hydration to the tissues, helping the body remain balanced from the inside out. The red blood cells within this fluid are perhaps the most iconic travelers. They move silently and gracefully, delivering oxygen to tissues and carrying carbon dioxide away. Their shape, smooth, rounded, and gently indented, allows them to slip through even the narrowest vessels without catching or slowing. In a sleep narration context, you might imagine these cells as countless tiny lanterns floating along a slow-moving river, glowing softly as they pass through the tissues. Each red blood cell carries its precious cargo of oxygen, releasing it gently into the quiet spaces between cells. This exchange is calm and constant, a peaceful cycle that repeats every moment without requiring any conscious effort. White blood cells drift through the bloodstream in smaller numbers, acting as the body's quiet guardians. They do not rush or patrol aggressively under normal conditions. Instead, they rest within the flow, observing the internal environment with quiet readiness. When needed, they move through vessel walls into tissues, responding to disturbances with attentive care. But in everyday rest and calm, they remain gentle participants in the flow of blood, providing reassurance that the body is always watched over and supported. Platelets, the smallest of the formed elements, contribute to the body's ability to repair itself. They circulate quietly until an area needs restoration, where they gather to form gentle plugs that slow bleeding and support healing. Their presence is subtle, often unnoticed, yet essential. They act like tiny caretakers that respond with calm precision whenever the integrity of tissue needs reinforcement. The vessels through which blood moves form an intricate network that spans the entire body, reaching from the surface of the skin to the deepest organs. Arteries carry blood outward from the heart with a steady pulse, delivering warmth and oxygen to the tissues. Veins return the blood to the heart with a gentle, continuous flow, often assisted by valves that keep the movement smooth and directed. Capillaries, the smallest vessels, form delicate webs where the actual exchange of gases and nutrients takes place. Through these countless tiny channels, blood releases oxygen, absorbs carbon dioxide, provides nourishment, and carries away metabolic waste. Despite its constant movement, blood remains remarkably calm. It does not rush recklessly through the body. Instead, It flows with deliberate rhythm, guided by the heartbeat, a gentle drum that keeps time without urgency. Even when the heart works harder during activity, the increase in flow remains smooth and measured, returning to peaceful rhythms as soon as the body comes back to rest. This steady movement reflects a harmony between energy and calm that defines the body's natural state. Blood also plays a vital role in regulating temperature. When the body grows warm, vessels near the skin widen slightly, allowing heat to drift outward. When the body cools, these vessels narrow, preserving warmth. This quiet regulation happens without conscious effort, maintaining comfort with subtle adjustments. It is yet another way that blood contributes to the body's inner peacefulness, acting like a gently circulating shield against the fluctuations of the outside environment. Within the plasma, countless proteins carry out tasks essential to balance and serenity. Albumin helps maintain fluid equilibrium, preventing swelling or dehydration within the tissues. Clotting proteins drift quietly until needed for healing. Antibodies rest within the flow. These proteins act like silent helpers, ensuring that the internal environment stays steady and harmonious. The fluid nature of blood allows it to connect distant parts of the body in a way no other tissue can. Muscles deep within the legs receive oxygen that originated in the lungs. Nutrients absorbed from the digestive system travel easily to the brain or heart. Hormones released by small glands drift throughout the body, carrying gentle signals that guide growth, stress recovery, sleep cycles, and energy levels. Through blood, the entire body becomes a connected whole, a landscape unified by a single, peaceful river that touches every region with care. Blood also supports the body during moments of healing. When tissues are injured, blood brings the supplies necessary for repair. Nutrients arrive, immune cells drift in to clear away damaged material, and platelets begin the quiet process of sealing wounds. Through this patient support, tissues regain their balance with time and rest. Level. Blood acts as a nurturing presence, offering all that is needed for calm restoration. At night, when the body gradually eases into slower rhythms, the flow of blood becomes especially meaningful. Though it continues its journey, it does so with reduced pressure and calmer pacing. The heart beats a little more softly, the vessels relax, and the entire circulatory system moves into a state of gentle maintenance. Blood still nourishes, still warms, still carries away what is no longer needed, but its patterns shift subtly to support the body's rest. This nighttime flow is part of what allows the body to wake feeling renewed. Blood is often associated with activity and life, but in truth, it also symbolizes deep calm. It is the quiet foundation that supports every breath, every movement, every moment of stillness. When imagined not as a rushing force but as a slow-moving river, it becomes easy to see how blood contributes to the body's sense of peace and unity. In its constant motion, blood provides continuity. In its careful balance of cells and plasma, it provides harmony. In its responsiveness, it provides quiet protection. And in its ever-present flow, it offers the deepest form of connection, linking every cell, every organ, and every tissue into a single, peaceful whole. 12. Lymph, the silent guardian of the internal terrain. As we continue drifting through the calm world of connective tissues, we come to one of the most understated, yet profoundly important companions of the body, the lymph. Unlike blood, which moves with a gentle pulse driven by the heart, lymph flows more slowly, guided by the soft pressures of movement, breath, and the rhythmic contractions of nearby tissues. It does not rush. It does not push. Instead, it glides through its vessels like a quiet stream, moving at a pace that suits its purpose, maintaining balance, filtering impurities, and protecting the internal landscape with quiet vigilance. Lymph is a fluid connective tissue that embodies calm, patience, and steady guardianship. To imagine lymph in a sleep-friendly way, picture it as a clear, almost luminous liquid, pale and serene, drifting through an intricate network of vessels that mirror the pathways of the bloodstream. These vessels form a gentle, branching system that extends throughout the body, reaching into the spaces between cells where excess fluid quietly accumulates. The lymph collects this fluid, carrying with it nutrients, proteins, and waste, and returns it to the circulatory system in a process so delicate that it almost goes unnoticed. Through this fluid movement, lymph maintains the softness and balance of tissues, preventing swelling and supporting the natural hydration of the body's internal environment. Lymphatic vessels, unlike arteries or veins, do not rely on a central pump. Instead, they rely on the subtle motions of life, each breath expanding the chest, each step contracting the leg muscles, each stretch opening space within the tissues. These daily motions squeeze and release the vessels gently, pushing the lymph along in small, measured waves. Even during rest, the lymph flows softly, guided by the natural pressures of circulation and the faint pulses created by surrounding tissues. This makes the lymphatic system one of the most peaceful systems in the body, never forceful, yet always at work. The lymph flows through small structures known as lymph nodes, tiny, soft nodules nestled along the pathways of vessels. These nodes act like quiet filtration centers, slowly removing impurities and monitoring the lymph for signs that the body may need support. Within these nodes rest lymphocytes and other immune cells, watching silently, responding only when something unexpected drifts into the system. These cells do not patrol aggressively. Instead, they remain calm, patient, and ready. Their presence ensures the body remains protected without needing to call attention to these defensive processes in everyday life. If you imagine a lymph node through a peaceful lens, it appears like a small, gentle sanctuary where the lymph pauses, rests, and receives careful attention. The fluid glides in through one vessel, drifts through delicate internal channels, and flows out again cleaner, clearer, and more balanced. This quiet pause allows the immune system to maintain calm oversight without interrupting the body's sense of ease. Even when immune responses occur within the lymph nodes, they tend to unfold gradually, in tune with the slow flow of lymph itself. The lymphatic system also includes the spleen, a soft organ nestled beneath the ribcage. The spleen gently filters the blood, removes older cells, and serves as a resting place for additional immune cells. In calm anatomy, it can be imagined as a quiet guardian resting beside the stomach, expanding and contracting slightly with the breath. It plays a silent role in maintaining the purity of the blood and supporting the body when it needs to respond to foreign substances. Yet even in moments of activity, the spleen moves with slow, thoughtful precision, aligning with the calming nature of the entire lymphatic system. Another structure linked to the lymphatic system is the thymus, located behind the sternum. This organ, most active in childhood, helps train certain immune cells before they travel out to protect the body. In adulthood, the thymus becomes smaller and gentler in its activity, yet its influence remains. If visualized softly, the thymus resembles a quiet teacher, shaping the growth of young cells, and then stepping back as the body matures. Its presence underscores the theme of the lymphatic system: gentle guidance. One of the most soothing aspects of lymph as a connective tissue is its role in maintaining the internal terrain of the body. Receive nutrients and release waste. This fluid, known as interstitial fluid, must remain balanced. If too much accumulates, the tissues swell and feel heavy. If too little is present, the tissues become dry and strained. The lymphatic vessels gently collect this fluid and return it to the bloodstream, ensuring the tissues remain in a state of comfortable equilibrium. This constant balancing act is performed without urgency, without sensation, and without interruption. Even the composition of lymph contributes to its calming nature. It is mostly water, softly carrying proteins, lipids, and occasional immune cells through the lymphatic channels. When absorbed through the digestive system, lymph takes on a creamy appearance as it transports fats from the intestines. This specialized lymph known as chyle, moves slowly through larger vessels, distributing nutrients with the same steady gentleness found throughout the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system also forms a quiet partnership with the connective tissues that surround it. Because lymph moves through the spaces between cells, it interacts closely with loose connective tissue, allowing fluid exchange across soft, hydrated matrices. In the skin, lymphatic vessels help maintain clarity and comfort by removing excess proteins and preventing swelling. Around muscles, the lymph drains the small amounts of fluid that naturally accumulate after movement, helping tissues recover smoothly. In the deeper cavities of the body, larger lymphatic vessels carry fluid toward the central veins, joining the bloodstream near the heart in a final, soft merger. During sleep, the lymphatic system continues its slow, steady journey. The body's movements become minimal, yet the subtle expansion and relaxation of breathing act as a gentle pump for lymph within the chest. In the brain, a specialized form of fluid movement, sometimes called the glymphatic system, helps remove metabolic waste that accumulates during waking hours. This cleansing process occurs most effectively during deep sleep, further connecting the movement of fluid with restfulness and renewal. Lymph also plays a role in long-term healing and recovery. When tissues become inflamed, the lymphatic vessels expand slightly. The lymph nodes become active, filtering the increased load and guiding the immune response that follows. Though the process may seem subtle, it unfolds with quiet determination. Perhaps the most soothing way to understand the lymphatic system is to view it as the body's way of tending to itself gently. It removes what is no longer needed, supports tissues without overwhelming them, and protects life within the body through calm vigilance. It serves as a silent guardian, moving slowly and steadily through every moment, maintaining the internal environment with a sense of patience and care. If the bloodstream is the body's river, then the lymphatic system is its hidden network of lakes and streams, less forceful, more delicate, and deeply calming. It reminds us that some of the most essential processes in the body happen slowly, without urgency, and without drawing attention. Through this quiet movement of fluid, the lymphatic system ensures that every corner of the body remains clear, balanced, and at peace. 13. Fascia, the whisper-thin web, surrounding everything. Fascia is one of the most continuous and quietly influential tissues in the entire body. Though often unnoticed, it stretches from head to toe, forming a seamless web of soft, glistening layers that envelop, connect, and support nearly every structure. When imagined gently, fascia feels like a delicate film of light, a smooth veil that never breaks, wrapping organs, muscles, bones, and vessels in a tender embrace. It slides with us when we move, softens around us when we rest, and responds with steady patience to every subtle shift in posture. Even though it is thin, almost translucent, to understand fascia in a calm, sleep-friendly way, it helps to picture it as a continuous sheet of connective tissue that gently follows the curves and contours of the body's interior. Unlike many other connective tissues that exist in clearly defined areas, fascia flows throughout the body as one uninterrupted network. You might imagine it as a shimmering fabric that lies beneath the skin, extends around each muscle, wraps each muscle fiber individually, envelopes the organs, and softens the borders between structures. This continuity gives the body an incredible sense of cohesion, allowing distant regions to communicate through tension and release, even without conscious awareness. Fascia is made primarily of collagen fibers arranged in soft, adaptable layers that can glide over one another. This ability to glide, known as fascial sliding, is what allows the muscles to move smoothly without friction. When you reach your arm forward, fascia stretches with the movement, lengthening gently to accommodate the shift. When you settle into stillness, it returns to a comfortable resting position, offering subtle support to the structures beneath. In this way, fascia behaves less like a solid sheet and more like a quiet ocean of connective tissue, fluid in its adaptability, yet supportive in its presence. The ground substance within fascia is richly hydrated, giving it a slippery, gel-like texture. This hydration is essential for its smooth movement. Without enough fluid, fascia can become dry and less mobile, limiting the glide between layers and contributing to stiffness. But in its healthy, hydrated state, fascia flows like calm water between tissues. You might imagine it as a thin stream passing between riverbanks, allowing everything it touches to move with greater ease. Movement and quiet balance during rest. Fascia takes on different textures depending on its location. Near the surface of the body, superficial fascia lies just beneath the skin, blending with adipose tissue to create a layer that feels soft and pliable. Deeper within the body, deep fascia forms more structured layers around muscles, bones, and organs. This deep fascia is stronger and more fibrous, yet still flexible enough to shift with the body's motions. It organizes the muscles into groups, creating gentle compartments that help guide their movement. It does not imprison the muscles. Instead, it gives them boundaries that allow each one to work efficiently without interfering with its neighbors. One of the most calming aspects of fascia is its responsiveness. Though it works slowly, it adapts over time to the body's patterns. If you stretch gently and regularly, fascia becomes more pliable, accommodating new ranges of motion. This adaptability is both patient and profound. Fascia remembers the movements you make most often, and it offers quiet stability where it senses the greatest need. Through this gradual remodeling, fascia helps maintain comfort and alignment throughout a lifetime of subtle changes. Fascia also contains many sensory receptors, making it one of the body's richest tissues for detecting pressure, stretch, and internal positioning. These receptors do not produce sharp sensations. Instead, they contribute to the soft, diffuse awareness of where the body is in space, known as proprioception. This awareness is part of the body's internal calm, allowing movements to feel fluid and coordinated. Even when resting, fascia provides gentle information to the nervous system, helping maintain balance and comfort without requiring conscious thought. Because fascia is so continuous, tension in one area can influence areas far away. A gentle pull in the fascia of the leg may shift the tension slightly in the back or even the shoulders. This interconnectedness is part of what makes the fascial system so unique. It unites the body's structures into a single, coordinated whole. You might picture fascia like an unbroken sheet of silk. If one corner of the silk is stretched, the rest responds subtly, adjusting to maintain harmony throughout the entire fabric. In the same way, fascia helps the body function as a unified system rather than a collection of isolated parts. Fascia also supports circulation. Its layers surround and cushion blood vessels and lymphatic vessels, keeping them protected and allowing them to glide smoothly during movement. When fascia is supple and healthy, it encourages easy flow through these vessels, supporting hydration, nutrient delivery, and gentle lymphatic circulation. When fascia becomes stiff, it may restrict these pathways slightly, but most of the time, the fascia remains in its fluid state, supporting the delicate internal rivers that nourish and cleanse the body. Within the abdomen, fascia forms extensive webs that hold organs in place without binding them tightly. These fascial layers allow organs to shift slightly as we breathe, digest, or rest, while still maintaining their alignment. The diaphragm, for example, is closely connected to fascia that runs along the spine, ribcage, and abdominal structures. This interconnectedness helps coordinate the movements of breath with posture and internal pressure, contributing to the body's feeling of stability. One of the quieter contributions of fascia is its ability to store and release mechanical tension. When the body moves, tension travels through the fascia, distributing itself along the network rather than concentrating in a single area. This distribution helps protect muscles and joints from strain. During rest, the fascia gradually releases the subtle tensions accumulated throughout the day, allowing the body to settle into a deeper sense of ease. This gentle release is part of what makes restful positions feel so satisfying, as though the body is slowly unwinding its accumulated patterns. Fascia's continuity, adaptability, and responsiveness make it a tissue of profound significance, even though it is often overlooked. It fills the spaces between structures, guides movement, communicates with the nervous system, and maintains internal alignment. Because fascia touches almost everything, it links the body's structures into a single organism rather than a collection of separate parts. When you imagine fascia now, envision it as a quiet, luminous web that drapes softly throughout the body. Picture its glistening layers sliding gently across one another, supporting movement in every direction. Feel how its continuous presence helps the body remain integrated and at ease. Fascia is the whisper-thin fabric that holds everything together, not by force, but by subtle, intelligent design. It is the silent architecture of unity, offering gentle stability with every breath, stretch, and moment of rest. 14. The connective tissue of joints, capsules, synovial fluid, and soft support. The joints of the body represent some of its most delicate and beautifully coordinated structures, and at the heart of each joint lies a quiet system of connective tissues that allow movement to feel smooth, effortless, and balanced. These tissues, joint capsules, synovial membranes, ligaments, and the gentle pools of synovial fluid work together like a calm orchestra, each element contributing softness, guidance, and stability. When imagined through a sleep-friendly lens, the joints resemble peaceful meeting points where bones come close but never clash, cushioned and protected by tissues designed for serenity and motion. The meeting of two bones could easily be a point of friction, yet the body has shaped these intersections into places of fluidity. Surrounding each joint is a connective tissue capsule, a soft but sturdy enclosure that embraces the joint like a quiet protective sleeve. This capsule is made from dense, irregular connective tissue, giving it the ability to withstand movement from many angles. Its fibers, arranged in gentle, interwoven patterns, do not restrict motion. Instead, they ensure the joint remains aligned and supported even during complex movements. If you imagine the capsule up close, it looks like a woven layer of soft, pale fibers forming a protective cocoon around the space where two bones meet. Inside this capsule lies the synovial membrane, a delicate inner lining that plays one of the most soothing roles in the entire musculoskeletal system. The synovial membrane is thin, almost translucent, and rests peacefully along the inner surface of the joint capsule. Its main purpose is to produce synovial fluid, a quiet, nourishing liquid that fills the joint cavity. This fluid, though minimal in quantity, is one of the most essential comfort givers of the body. It coats the surfaces of cartilage, reducing friction so that movement between bones becomes nearly silent. It nourishes the cartilage, which has no blood supply, by delivering nutrients through gentle diffusion. It cushions the joint with a softness that makes even subtle movements feel smooth. Synovial fluid can be imagined as a warm, gentle dew resting between the bones, gliding softly as the joint shifts. When the body is still, the fluid settles within the joint like a calm pool. When the body moves, it flows effortlessly along the contours of the joint surfaces, adapting to position and pressure without hesitation. Its texture is slightly viscous, neither too thick nor too thin, allowing it to cling lightly to the cartilage. This delicate balance of viscosity ensures that the surfaces move without damaging one another, offering the body a sense of smoothness in every quiet bend and stretch. Ligaments add their own calm strength to the joint. These dense, regular connective tissues, arranged in parallel bundles, gently hold the bones in place, preventing excessive motion without locking the joint rigidly. Ligaments do not command the joint. Instead, they guide it, allowing freedom where it is safe and offering resistance where it is not. They lie along the sides, front, or back of joints depending on the direction of stability required. In a sleep-soothing visualization, Ligaments appear like slender, silvery bands that cradle the joint with quiet reverence, providing stability without weight. Some joints have features called menisci or articular discs, crescent-shaped pieces of fibrocartilage that deepen joint surfaces or serve as additional cushions. These structures distribute weight more evenly across the joint, soften the impact of movement, and help guide the bones along smoother pathways. The menisci in the knee, for example, act like gentle shock absorbers, spreading out the forces that travel through the joint during standing, walking, and resting. These fibrocartilaginous structures feel firm yet yielding, capable of absorbing pressure without compromising their shape. Other joints, such as the shoulder and hip, have additional connective tissues like the labrum, a ring of fibrocartilage that encircles the socket. The labrum deepens the joint, helping the rounded head of the bone fit more securely while still allowing wide-ranging movement. This additional ring behaves like a quiet barrier, preventing the joint from slipping too far in any direction. The interplay between these layers, capsule, synovial membrane, ligaments, cartilage, menisci, and synovial fluid creates an environment of harmony and stability. Every joint, whether large or small, relies on this connective tissue network to maintain its health and comfort. Even the joints of the fingers, which seem so small and delicate, contain tiny capsules and membranes that produce miniature pools of synovial fluid, ensuring that every movement remains gentle and precise. Joint health is deeply influenced by movement and stillness. When the body moves, the synovial fluid is stirred gently, distributing nutrients across the cartilage and keeping the tissues hydrated. When the body rests, the fluid settles, allowing the tissues to soak quietly in nourishment. This rhythm of motion and stillness gives the joints their longevity, helping them stay comfortable over years of use. The connective tissues of the joints are also sensitive to the soft patterns of daily life. Prolonged stillness can make the joint capsule feel slightly tighter as the fibers settle into one position. Gentle movement encourages flexibility, allowing the capsule to glide more freely. Synovial fluid becomes more fluid with warmth and movement, contributing to the sense of ease that often accompanies slow stretching or waking up after sleep. These adaptable qualities make the joints responsive and supportive, capable of adjusting to different positions and activities throughout the day. Even during sleep, the connective tissues of the joints continue their quiet work. Ligaments maintain alignment, ensuring the bones rest comfortably in their proper positions. The capsule provides a secure enclosure, holding the joint steady. Synovial fluid gently coats the cartilage, preventing dryness and encouraging soft nourishment. As the body relaxes, the joints settle with it, finding positions that bring the least strain and the greatest sense of peace. There is something deeply soothing about understanding how thoughtfully these tissues work together. The joint is not a simple meeting of bones. It is a protected sanctuary of movement, cradled by tissues that prioritize smoothness, balance, and comfort. Every joint, from the smallest toe to the broad curves of the shoulders, benefits from this quiet orchestration. When imagined with calm attention, the joints become places where the body's architecture feels most alive and most peaceful. The connective tissues surrounding them ensure that movement remains fluid, that rest remains restful, and that daily life can unfold with a sense of ease. Through their coordinated softness and strength, these tissues allow the body to bend, twist, turn, and settle with grace. 15. Connective tissue and movement, how the body moves as one system. When we think of movement, it is easy to imagine muscles contracting and relaxing, bones shifting quietly beneath the skin, and joints bending in soft, fluid arcs. Yet beneath all of this, there is a deeper, calmer truth. Movement in the body is never the work of one structure alone. Instead, it is a serene collaboration, a symphony of tissues, each contributing its own form of support, flexibility, and guidance. Connective tissue lies at the heart of this collaboration. It does not command or take center stage, but it weaves through every structure, allowing the entire body to move as a single, unified system. To understand this gentle unity, imagine connective tissue as a continuous, soft web extending from the surface of the skin all the way to the deepest interior. This web is not rigid or restrictive. Instead, it stretches, shifts, and adapts with every motion. When a muscle contracts, connective tissue transmits its pull across joints, bones, and even distant regions of the body. When the body leans, twists, or stretches, connective tissue distributes these forces in quiet, balanced ways, softening impact and guiding movement along natural paths. No movement is isolated. Everything flows through the connective tissue system, like ripples passing through calm water. Consider a simple motion, such as lifting an arm. On the surface, it appears that the shoulder muscles do the work. Yet beneath this apparent simplicity, connective tissues in the chest, back, neck, and even deep within the torso respond in subtle ways. Fascia stretches gently across the ribs. Ligaments in the shoulder and upper spine steady the movement. Even the skin shifts slightly, following the motion with graceful ease. All of these changes happen quietly, harmonizing without conscious command. This harmony is made possible because connective tissues connect everything in the body: muscles to bones, bones to other bones, organs to the surrounding walls, nerves to supportive pathways, and vessels to steady channels. The body is able to move with balance and softness because these tissues maintain continuity across every region. You might picture them as long, gentle threads woven into every structure, giving the entire body a sense of integrated movement. Muscles cannot act without their tendons transmitting the force. Tendons cannot function without ligaments maintaining joint stability. Ligaments cannot provide stability without bones forming steady anchors. Bones cannot move without cartilage, smoothing their contact surfaces. And none of this coordination would be possible without fascia surrounding every layer, blending all the components into a single system that moves fluidly and quietly. Even the smallest motions, like the gentle rise of the chest during a deep breath, rely on connective tissue. As the lungs expand, fascia around the ribs stretches, the diaphragm descends, and the abdominal tissues lengthen slightly to create space. Ligaments in the spine adjust to the subtle changes in posture. The joints between the ribs and spine shift minutely to accommodate the movement. This entire orchestration unfolds effortlessly, revealing how connective tissue supports not just dramatic movements, but also the quiet rhythm of breathing. Connective tissues also distribute tension to maintain balance. When you stretch one area of the body, another area gently adjusts to maintain alignment. For example, if you reach upward with both arms, the fascia along the sides of the torso lengthens, the tissues along the spine adjust, and even the connective tissues in the legs respond by creating a sense of grounding. This interconnectedness explains why stretching one area can create sensation or relief in another, seemingly distant part of the body. It is all part of the continuous internal web. With each step, the foot touches the ground, sending gentle forces upward through the ankle, into the calf muscles, and along the fascia of the leg. These forces continue to travel upward through the hips, pelvis, spine, and even into the shoulders. At the same time, opposing forces travel downward as the body maintains its balance. This exchange of subtle tensions allows walking to feel smooth and rhythmic. Without connective tissue, each step would feel sharp or disconnected. With it, each step flows into the next like a gentle wave, moving through the body with a sense of continuity. Connective tissue also participates in movement by offering elasticity. Elastin fibers, scattered throughout various tissues, allow stretching and recoiling with ease. When a joint moves or a muscle lengthens, these elastic fibers soften the transition, preventing abrupt changes in tension. After movement, they help tissues return to their natural resting state, restoring balance without effort. During rest, connective tissues do not become inactive. Instead, they settle into positions that maintain gentle support, Ligaments keep joints aligned. Fascia adapts to restful postures, allowing the muscles to relax. Tendons remain steady, holding their positions without consuming energy. Even the synovial fluid within the joints distributes itself quietly, coating surfaces so that movement upon waking feels smooth and natural. Connective tissues also maintain movement, efficiency over time. When an area of the body is used repeatedly, connective tissue adapts by strengthening or reshaping itself. Runners develop stronger tendon structures. Dancers cultivate more pliable fascial layers. Individuals who stretch regularly encourage their connective tissues to become more hydrated and flexible. These adaptations occur slowly, showing the patient nature of connective tissue, always attentive, always adjusting to patterns, always guiding the body toward greater harmony. Movement guided by connective tissue is gentle, fluid, and deeply interconnected. Even when the body performs complex motions, the internal experience can feel effortless because of the quiet work happening beneath the surface. Connective tissue allows motion to become an expression of balance rather than force, and an expression of unity rather than isolated action. When imagined in a calm, sleep-friendly way, movement becomes a soft dialogue between the body and its internal architecture. Each tissue listens to the others. Each motion creates ripples across the connective web. Each moment of stillness invites the tissues to settle, soften, and restore gentle equilibrium. Connective tissue reminds us that the body is at its most graceful when it moves as one complete system, guided, supported, and embraced by the soft, resilient network that holds everything together. 16. Connective tissues in healing. A slow and patient restoration. Healing within the body is not an event, but a gentle process, a steady unfolding, guided in large part by the connective tissues that hold everything together. While some tissues respond quickly to change, connective tissues take their time, repairing, renewing, and rebuilding with a calm pace that reflects the deep patience of the body itself. When viewed through a soothing, sleep-focused perspective, healing becomes a quiet choreography, fibers aligning, cells communicating, fluids shifting, all without sensation or urgency. It is a process marked by subtlety, softness, and quiet perseverance. To understand healing in connective tissues, imagine a woven fabric tucked beneath the surface of the body. Every movement we make, every posture we hold, places tiny amounts of strain on this fabric. Most of the time, these strains remain harmless, absorbed by the resilience of collagen fibers and the adaptability of the surrounding matrix. But occasionally, a fiber stretches a little too far, or a structure absorbs more force than it was ready for. When this happens, the tissue experiences a gentle disruption, a place where the weave becomes slightly loosened, or where the fibers shift out of their natural alignment. The body does not panic when such disruptions arise. Instead, it responds with quiet guidance, summoning connective tissue cells to the area. Fibroblasts, those steady guardians of connective tissue, arrive with patience, beginning the slow act of rebuilding. Picture them drifting through the extracellular matrix like small, attentive caretakers. They do not rush. They do not overwhelm the tissue with sudden change. Instead, they begin laying down new collagen strands in soft, delicate lines, creating a faint, early scaffold of repair. In the earliest stages of healing, the tissue becomes slightly more hydrated as the ground substance shifts to create a supportive cushion for cellular activity. This hydration feels like a softening within the tissue, providing space for fibroblasts to work and for immune cells to clear away what is no longer needed. Macrophages, the gentle recyclers, quietly drift in to remove fragments of damaged fibers. They work with the same calm rhythm found throughout the connective tissue system, ensuring that healing unfolds smoothly rather than chaotically. As the days pass, the fibroblasts continue their patient weaving. The collagen fibers they create at first are not strong or well aligned. They resemble soft threads laid down simply to fill the space and protect the region. Over time, These fibers gradually organize themselves, responding to the natural movements of the body. When the tissue is used gently through soft stretching, slow walking, or the natural shifts of daily life, the collagen aligns along the lines of tension. It is as though the movement whispers instructions to the tissue, guiding the fibers to orient themselves in the most harmonious pattern. This stage of healing reflects one of the most calming truths about connective tissue. It listens. It adapts. It reshapes itself according to what the body needs. It does not rush the process, because strength built too quickly would become fragile. Instead, it follows a timeline that ensures durability and balance. Healing becomes a quiet dialogue between the tissue and the body's movements, with each small action contributing to the eventual restoration of structure. In the deeper layers of connective tissue, such as tendons and ligaments, this process unfolds even more slowly. Because these tissues contain fewer blood vessels, everything moves with a particularly patient pace. Nutrients diffuse gently through the surrounding tissues rather than rushing in through abundant blood flow. Fibroblasts work steadily but unhurriedly, weaving new collagen in patterns that match the tissue's characteristic alignment. It may take weeks or months for the tissue to regain its full strength, but during this time, the process remains calm and purposeful. Even as the tissue heals, it continues to serve its quiet role of guiding movement and supporting posture. Cartilage, too, engages in a slow restoration process, limited by its lack of direct blood supply. When cartilage experiences wear or minor disruption, nutrients from the synovial fluid seep into the tissue, offering the materials needed for gradual repair. Chondrocytes, the caretakers of cartilage, work at a pace suited to their environment, slowly maintaining the matrix and smoothing areas of mild irregularity. Though cartilage healing is modest compared to other tissues, the process still follows the same serene pattern of careful restoration. Bone, on the other hand, provides a beautiful example of healing as a structured, rhythmic progression. When bone tissue experiences disruption, the body immediately creates a soft scaffolding, first forming a gentle cushion of tissue known as a soft callus. Over time, osteoblasts create new bone material within this callus, gradually transforming it into a stronger, more structured form called a hard callus. As weeks pass, the bone remodels itself further, refining the internal lattice until it closely resembles the original architecture. This entire process is guided by slow, deliberate cellular activity, unfolding as naturally as a tide moving across a quiet shore. One of the most soothing aspects of connective tissue healing is that the body always seeks restoration, never rigidity. It does not simply patch the tissue, it reintegrates it. Connective tissues heal by rebuilding structure in ways that allow the entire system to maintain its unity. This ensures that movement remains fluid and that balance within the body is preserved. Even the lymphatic system supports this process, carrying away excess fluid and guiding immune cells to and from the region. Its slow, steady flow helps reduce swelling, clear waste, and maintain clarity within the tissue as healing progresses. Blood contributes as well, delivering nutrients, oxygen, and the gentle support of clotting factors when needed. In this way, the entire internal environment participates in the healing process, acting as a team of calm supporters rather than individual, isolated systems. As healing continues, the new tissue grows stronger, more organized, and more capable of supporting daily life. The fibers align more deeply, the matrix becomes more structured, and the tissue gradually resumes its quiet role within the body's connective network. Even after the repair is complete, subtle remodeling may continue for months, allowing the tissue to fine-tune itself as the body reestablishes its natural patterns of movement. Healing within connective tissues teaches us something deeply reassuring. The body is always working toward restoration, even in moments of stillness, even in sleep, even without awareness. The tissues slowly mend themselves with care and intention. The process is gentle, patient, and purposeful, a reminder that the body's design is not only resilient, but also profoundly calm. 17. The influence of stress, rest, and daily life on connective tissues. Connective tissues, though quiet and often unnoticed, move and change in gentle response to the rhythms of your daily life. Every moment, every posture, every breath, every stretch, and every pause shapes these tissues subtly over time. Unlike muscles that tighten and release quickly, or nerves that send rapid signals, connective tissues respond with a slow and thoughtful pace. They adapt to patterns rather than moments, soothing into the shape of your habits and softening into the patterns of your rest. To understand how these tissues change under the influence of stress, stillness, and the gentle cycles of daily life is to appreciate one of the most calming aspects of the human body, its ability to listen quietly and respond gradually. Stress, in the context of connective tissue, is not the emotional strain we associate with worry or tension, though that emotional stress can influence the body as well. Rather, stress here refers to the physical forces placed on tissues throughout the day. Each time you reach for something, the tendons of your shoulders experience a gentle pull. Even the way you sit or lie down provides subtle pressures and shifts. Connective tissues are designed to respond to these stresses, strengthening where needed, loosening where safe, and gradually reshaping their fibers to reflect the movements you repeat most often. When the body experiences consistent physical stress, connective tissues adapt by becoming more robust. Collagen fibers may grow slightly thicker or arrange themselves more firmly along lines of tension. Fascia may become more layered, offering greater support where movement patterns demand it. Tendons may reinforce their fiber bundles, enhancing their ability to transmit force. This adaptive process unfolds slowly, like the gentle growth of a tree adjusting to wind patterns. It is a calm, continuous form of resilience, one that honors the body's need for stability. But stress does not always mean strain or harm. Many forms of stress, like stretching, walking, gentle strengthening, or simply moving through natural daily motions, provide healthy signals to the connective tissues. They encourage hydration, nourishment, and elasticity. They remind the tissues to remain adaptable and resilient. Movement acts like a loving conversation with the connective network, telling it, continue to soften here, strengthen there, and remain fluid throughout. The tissues respond quietly, reshaping themselves over weeks and months. However, prolonged emotional stress can influence connective tissues as well, though in a softer, more indirect way. Emotional tension often translates into subtle changes in posture or breath, shoulders lifting slightly. These patterns, held over time, can create gentle strains in fascia, tendons, and ligaments. The tissues may shift subtly to accommodate the posture, becoming slightly taut in one area and slightly compressed in another. This is not harmful in the short term, but it shows how deeply connected the body's physical and emotional landscapes truly are. Rest, on the other hand, offers the opposite influence. During sleep or periods of quiet stillness, connective tissues undergo their gentle restoration. The body uses these moments to rehydrate the matrix surrounding the fibers, allowing water to flow into the ground substance again. Fascia softens slightly, regaining its glide. Tendons and ligaments relax into their natural lengths. Even the soft tissues around the joints settle into balanced positions, giving synovial fluid time to nourish the cartilage. Rest is when the connective tissues rejuvenate not with sudden repairs, but with slow, deep replenishment. This restorative process is why the body often feels more pliable after waking from a full night of sleep. The tissues have been soaking quietly in hydration, gently releasing the mild tensions that build throughout the day. Movements may feel smoother, joints more comfortable, and the body as a whole more ready for motion. Sleep is the body's soft reset, allowing the connective tissues to return to a place of balance. Daily habits too. The way you hold your shoulders while sitting, the angle of your neck when reading, the positions your legs naturally find when resting. All of these patterns guide the tissues to adapt. Over time, the fascia surrounding muscles may reshape itself to support these habitual postures. Bones may experience slightly different lines of force from one day to the next, guiding their long-term remodeling. Even the skin, supported by connective tissue beneath it, subtly reflects the postures and movements you repeat most often. This adaptability is not a problem, but a quiet gift. It allows your body to grow into the patterns that feel natural to you. It also means that gentle changes in habit, like stretching softly, adjusting posture with awareness, or introducing calm, periodic movement, can gradually reshape the tissues toward greater comfort and alignment. Hydration, too, plays a significant role in the life of connective tissues. The ground substance that fills the spaces between fibers is largely composed of water, which gives tissues their plumpness and their ability to glide. When the body is well hydrated, fascia becomes smoother, tendons more comfortable, and joints feel more fluid. When hydration is low, the tissues may feel slightly less pliable, as if they are asking for a gentle infusion of nourishment. This is why even small amounts of movement, walking, stretching, breathing deeply, help encourage hydration to move through the tissues. Temperature can influence connective tissues as well. This is why gentle heat like a warm bath, soft sunlight on the skin, or a cozy blanket often makes movement feel more comfortable. Cold, by contrast, encourages tissues to contract slightly, conserving warmth and tightening subtly to protect the internal organs. These are natural patterns, part of the body's instinctive regulation. Stillness is another influence, and its effects can be both comforting and challenging. During restful stillness, especially sleep, the tissues soften, hydrate, and repair. But prolonged stillness during the day, such as sitting without movement for long periods, may cause certain tissues to stiffen slightly. Fascia adapts to the position, becoming more accustomed to holding its shape. Gentle movement afterward helps restore glide and softness. Perhaps the most soothing truth about the influence of daily life on connective tissues is that nothing happens abruptly. Changes occur gradually, quietly, and with remarkable patience. The body does not demand sudden shifts, nor does it resist gentle guidance. Over time, the tissues reflect the rhythm of your life, your movements, your rest, your stresses, and your ease. They respond not to moments but to patterns, shaping themselves into forms that best support the life you live. In this way, connective tissues become mirrors of your habits but also quiet helpers that support change. With every soft stretch, every restful breath, every calm night of sleep, and every small, thoughtful movement, you guide your tissues toward greater comfort, resilience, and harmony. They listen to you not with urgency, but with deep, patient attention, helping your body move and rest with a sense of gentle unity. 18. Connective tissue and aging. A lifelong evolution of soft strength. As the years pass, the connective tissues of the body move through a quiet, lifelong evolution. They do not age suddenly, nor do they shift abruptly. Instead, they follow the long rhythm of time, adapting gently to each phase of life. Their fibers soften and thicken in different ways, their hydration changes slowly, their elasticity adjusts with patience, and their responses to movement reflect the graceful transitions of growing older. Aging, in the context of connective tissue, becomes less a decline and more a soft unfolding, a gradual reshaping of the body's internal landscape that mirrors a lifetime of living, moving, resting, and being. In youth, connective tissues are supple, richly hydrated, and highly adaptable. Collagen fibers maintain a fine balance between strength and flexibility, and elastin stretches easily, returning without resistance. Fascia glides smoothly over muscle surfaces, responding quickly to movement. Joints feel open and fluid as synovial membranes produce fresh lubrication. The ground substance, the gentle gel that surrounds the fibers, is abundant, allowing tissues to remain plump and pliable. Even minor strains tend to resolve quickly, as the cells responsible for repair work with energetic responsiveness. But as time moves forward, the tissues begin to shift in a soft, patient way. Collagen fibers gradually become more cross-linked, forming stronger but less flexible bonds. This cross-linking is not harmful. It simply reflects the natural process of maturation. With more connections binding them, the fibers become slightly less yielding. Movements that once felt effortless may require a touch more warmth or time, but the tissues remain deeply reliable, strong, stable, and able to support the body with quiet, enduring presence. Elastin, the fiber responsible for stretch and recoil, changes as well. This contributes to the gentle stiffening of tissues, a sensation many people begin to notice during stretching or after long periods of stillness. The changes are subtle, unfolding slowly across decades, giving the body time to adjust to its new patterns. Despite this gradual stiffening, the tissues still respond beautifully to warmth, movement, and hydration, softening in ways that bring comfort and ease. Hydration, too, plays an important role in the aging of connective tissues. The ground substance holds less water over time, becoming slightly denser. This shift contributes to the mild sense of dryness or stiffness that may appear after waking or sitting for a while. Yet the body adapts even in later stages of life. Gentle movement encourages hydration to return to the tissues, restoring glide and comfort. Stretching becomes not just beneficial but deeply soothing, inviting hydration back into the connective network like rain returning to a quiet field. Fascia also evolves with age. In youth, it flows freely, adjusting rapidly to movement and posture. It no longer shifts as quickly, but it gains a kind of calm stability. It supports posture with quieter firmness. It molds itself to the body's lifelong patterns, creating a sense of internal familiarity. Even as it becomes less elastic, fascia retains its ability to respond slowly, gently, but consistently to new habits and stretches. The body remains adaptable. It simply asks for patience, warmth, and mindful motion. Tendons and ligaments grow stronger with age, but also slightly less flexible. Their collagen fibers become more tightly woven. This is why warming up becomes more important through the years. A few minutes of soft motion remind these tissues that movement is coming, allowing them to respond without strain. Once warmed, they move more comfortably, supporting walking, reaching, bending, and the quiet transitions of daily life. Cartilage, which cushions and protects joints, also changes gently across time. It may lose some thickness or hydration, responding more slowly to nutrients diffusing from the synovial fluid. Joints may feel stiffer in the morning or after long rest, yet synovial fluid continues to nourish them, and gentle movement helps distribute this fluid more evenly. Even in later decades, the joints remain capable of fluid, soothing motion, especially when given warmth, slow, stretching, and unhurried activity. Bone, too, undergoes its own changes. In youth, bone remodels quickly, responding to stress and adapting to movement with efficient turnover. With age, osteoblasts, the cells that build bone, work more slowly, while osteoclasts, the cells that break down bone, may continue at their steady pace. This natural shift can lead to decreased bone density over time, but the body still remembers how to strengthen bone through gentle, regular movement. Walking, stretching, light activity, and weight-bearing motions all encourage bones to maintain their inner architecture. Even as bones age, they remain responsive to care. One of the softest truths about aging connective tissues is that their changes happen gradually, often so gently that they blend into the background of daily life. Most people only notice these shifts when comparing decades, not days. The body does not surrender its adaptability, it simply reshapes the way it listens and responds. The nervous system also influences how connective tissues feel as we age. These sensations are not warnings but reminders, reminders to move softly, to rest deeply, to hydrate, to warm the tissues, and to approach movement with patience and awareness. Rest becomes more restorative, gentle activity becomes more soothing. The tissues respond positively to warmth, to rhythmic motion, to stretching, and to deep breaths that guide hydration and flexibility through the fascia and joints. Emotional patterns also influence aging tissues. A lifetime of postures shaped by habits, personality, work, or feelings gradually becomes woven into fascia. An upright posture reflects certain inner states, a forward-leaning pattern reflects others. The body becomes a quiet biography of one's life, written into connective tissue with tenderness. Yet the tissues never lose their ability to adapt. Even in older age, the body responds beautifully to subtle changes. A new daily stretch, a soft walk, a moment of mindful breathing. Aging is not a story of decline, but of deeper relationship with one's body. The tissues grow wiser, they hold memories, patterns, and strengths shaped over decades. They respond calmly to intention. They soften with patience. They strengthen with gentle practice. They nourish with rest. When imagined through a peaceful lens, aging becomes a long conversation between the body and time, slow, thoughtful, and filled with opportunities for comfort. Connective tissues guide this conversation, shaping themselves to match the rhythms of your life, offering support, adapting to change, and carrying you through each stage with steady, quiet grace. 19. The harmony between connective tissue and the nervous system. Within the quiet interior of the body, there is a soft and continuous conversation that never rises to the level of conscious awareness. This dialogue unfolds between the connective tissues, those gentle, supportive structures that hold the body together, and the nervous system, which guides sensation, movement, rest, and the subtle rhythms that accompany daily life. Though these two systems may seem separate at first glance, they are intertwined in ways that bring calm coherence to the entire body. Their relationship is not abrupt or forceful. Instead, it is delicate, slow-moving, and deeply harmonious, shaping both physical comfort and emotional ease. To understand this connection through a sleep-friendly lens, imagine the body as a vast landscape filled with soft pathways. The connective tissues form the terrain, smooth hills of fascia, quiet plains of areolar tissue, protective ridges of ligamentous fibers. Through this landscape run countless gentle currents, representing the flow of nervous signals that drift from the brain to the tissues and back again. These currents do not forcefully direct the body. Instead, they interact softly with the tissues, responding to the shapes, tensions, and subtle shifts created by everyday movements. One of the most direct ways the nervous system and connective tissues connect is through the sensory receptors woven throughout the connective network. Fascia, in particular, contains a rich collection of specialized nerve endings that sense stretch, pressure, tension, and internal positioning. These receptors do not create sharp or alarming sensations. Instead, they produce a gentle awareness, a quiet sense of where the limbs are, how the body is arranged, and how the tissues are stretching or relaxing. This awareness is known as proprioception, and it is one of the most soothing aspects of movement. It allows the body to adjust without conscious effort, maintaining balance even in moments of deep calm. As connective tissues stretch or soften, these sensory receptors send subtle signals to the nervous system. They inform the brain not just of movement, but of the quality of that movement. A slow, gentle stretch sends different signals than a sudden motion. The brain responds by guiding muscles to contract or relax accordingly. In this way, connective tissues provide a form of quiet communication that shapes the smoothness and ease of every motion. The nervous system also influences connective tissues through the autonomic branch, the part of the nervous system that operates without conscious control. When the body enters a state of rest, such as during sleep or quiet breathing, the parasympathetic nervous system becomes more active. This rest and restore mode encourages tissues to relax, hydrate, and shift into a softer state. Fascia becomes more pliable, muscles loosen, and the spaces within the connective matrix open slightly, allowing fluid to move more freely. These changes create the sense of heaviness and comfort often felt when the body begins to settle into rest. Conversely, during periods of stress, the sympathetic nervous system becomes more active. Even if the stress is emotional or mental rather than physical, the connective tissues respond. They may become slightly tighter, their hydration may shift, and their sensitivity may increase. These changes are subtle, but over long periods, they influence posture, movement, and comfort. This is why emotional tension can sometimes be felt as tight shoulders, a stiff neck, or a sense of internal bracing. The connective tissues are listening, reflecting the body's internal state and providing a quiet expression of how the nervous system feels. This relationship is not one-sided. Just as the nervous system influences connective tissues, the reverse is also true. Gentle stretching, soft movement, and calming physical sensations can soothe the nervous system. When fascia glides smoothly, when joints move fluidly, when muscles soften into connective support, the brain receives signals of safety and ease. These signals can lower stress, deepen relaxation, and encourage the body to shift into restorative states. This is one reason why slow stretching, gentle walking, or even quiet breathing can bring such profound calm. The connective tissues, in their softness and adaptability, help the nervous system unwind. Breathing, in particular, forms a unique bridge between these two systems. With every slow inhalation and exhalation, the diaphragm, the broad muscle that separates the chest from the abdomen, moves rhythmically. This movement gently stretches the fascia surrounding it, tugging softly on tissues that extend throughout the torso. These subtle stretches send calming messages through the sensory receptors, guiding the nervous system into steadier rhythms. At the same time, the movement of the diaphragm encourages the flow of blood and lymph, further supporting the tissues. Through this simple, quiet cycle of breath, the connective tissues and nervous system engage in one of their most soothing exchanges. Fascia, because of its continuity, is one of the strongest links between body and mind. When it is hydrated and flexible, movement feels light and unburdened. When it becomes stiff or dehydrated, signals of tension travel more readily through the tissues, contributing to a sense of physical or emotional tightness. This interplay reflects how deeply the nervous system depends on the soft, gliding qualities of connective tissue to maintain internal harmony. The body shifts through different sleep stages, some deeper and more restorative than others. As the nervous system settles into the deepest stages, connective tissues experience some of their most essential moments of hydration and repair. Fascial compartments soften, the joints rest in quiet alignment. Synovial fluid moves gently through the joint spaces, nourishing cartilage. Blood flow distributes warmth and oxygen through tissues that have been waiting for this slow replenishment. Meanwhile, the nervous system clears away cellular waste, resets its patterns, and prepares for a new cycle of waking life. The harmony between connective tissue and the nervous system becomes especially clear in moments of stillness. When the body becomes quiet, perhaps lying down, perhaps simply breathing in a comfortable position, the tissues soften. The nervous system senses this softness and begins to calm. The calmer the nervous system becomes, the more the connective tissues release. This is a gentle feedback loop, a spiral of relaxation in which both systems build upon one another to create deeper quiet. Aging influences this relationship as well, but never in abrupt or negative ways. As connective tissues gradually become thicker and less pliable, the nervous system adapts, altering its sensitivity and adjusting its responses. The tissue may require more warmth or slower movements to reach the same level of ease, but it remains capable of soothing the nervous system through thoughtful motion. The body, even in its later years, retains this capacity for deep calm. One shapes movement, the other shapes sensation. One listens to the body's patterns, the other guides its responses. Together, they create a sense of balance and softness that extends through every moment of life. Whenever you stretch gently, breathe deeply, or settle into rest, these two systems speak to one another quietly, steadily, and with deep mutual understanding. Their harmony forms one of the great foundations of bodily peace, allowing movement to feel fluid, rest to feel nourishing, and the entire body to feel like one interconnected whole. 20. A gentle integration. Connective tissue as the body's quiet unifier. As our long, calming journey through the connective tissues of the body comes to its final chapter, it is soothing to pause and reflect on how deeply these quiet structures influence every moment of life. Though they exist beneath the surface, woven into places we rarely think about, connective tissues are some of the most constant companions we have. They cradle every organ, support every movement, protect every joint, and provide the soft foundation upon which all other systems depend. In their silence, they offer stability. In their flexibility, they allow fluidity. To see the entire body as one integrated system is to understand that connective tissue serves as the gentle thread that ties everything together. It surrounds each cell in a soft matrix. It encases groups of cells in delicate coverings. It forms sheets, bands, cushions, and pathways that keep the body aligned and balanced. Even when you are perfectly still, perhaps lying in a quiet bedroom, the air around you softened by night, your connective tissues continue their subtle work. They adapt to the contours of your resting posture, breathing, and allow the fluids of your body to flow with ease. In this way, connective tissue is both structure and story. It is structure because it gives the body shape, strength, and resilience. It is story because every movement you have ever made, every stretch you have ever held, every posture you have ever returned to, has been recorded in its fibers, guiding how the tissues adapt across a lifetime. When imagined gently, connective tissue becomes a soft journal, one written not in words, but in the language of alignment, elasticity, hydration, and quiet change. Its pages are slow and delicate, shaped by years of experience rather than moments of intensity. One of the most comforting truths about connective tissue is its capacity for adaptation. Whether you are active or restful, young or aging, moving vigorously or moving slowly, your connective tissues adjust in a patient, attentive way. They respond not with urgency, but with long-term changes, thickening where strength is needed, softening where flexibility is encouraged, gliding where movement flows, and resting where stillness invites them. This patient adaptability is a reminder that resilience does not require force. Instead, it can grow gently, shaped by repetition, guided by intention, and nurtured by balance. Another essential quality of connective tissue is its integration with the systems that sustain life. It supports the circulatory system by surrounding vessels in soft layers that allow them to expand and contract comfortably. It partners with the lymphatic system, helping fluid drain through tissues and return to the bloodstream. It communicates with the nervous system through sensory receptors that sense stretch, pressure, and subtle internal shifts. It even influences the immune system, providing routes for immune cells to travel and offering structural boundaries that guide healing. This interconnectedness helps illuminate a profound truth. Nothing in the body exists alone. Every system, every structure, every function depends on the quiet, stabilizing presence of connective tissues. They do not claim the spotlight, yet they make the performance possible. Without their soft architecture, the muscles would not contract efficiently, the bones would not remain aligned, the organs would not rest securely, and the fluids would not circulate harmoniously. Connective tissues whisper their support in ways that are subtle yet essential. The presence of connective tissue also creates continuity between motion and rest. During movement, the tissues stretch, compress, glide, and transmit forces along their layers. During rest, they gently release tension, restore hydration, and prepare the body for the next cycle of activity. This rhythm mirrors the rhythm of life itself, moments of exertion followed by moments of quiet renewal. Connective tissues honor this rhythm, supporting both action and stillness with equal grace. In times of healing, connective tissues reveal their deep patience. They repair slowly, deliberately, ensuring that restored fibers align harmoniously with the body's natural patterns. This process mirrors a kind of internal mindfulness, steady, thoughtful, and unrushed. The tissues rebuild with the wisdom of experience, adapting as needed, and returning with a balance shaped by care. Even aging, often thought of as decline, becomes a soft transformation when viewed through connective tissues. Their fibers change in texture and density, their hydration shifts, and their elasticity adjusts. Yet throughout these changes, they remain capable of movement, capable of softening, capable of responding to warmth, breath, and gentle activity. Aging connective tissues teach us that transformation does not erase capability. It simply reshapes it in quieter, deeper ways. When the body rests at night, the connective tissues continue their work in the background. The fascia softens, the joints settle, hydration flows back into depleted spaces, and the tissues unwind from the accumulated patterns of the day. In the quiet darkness, connective tissues become almost like a sanctuary, a place where the body's internal environment is restored, refreshed, and rebalanced. This restoration gives rise to the sense of ease one feels upon waking, as though the tissues have carefully tended to every corner of the body while sleep held the mind. In the broader view, connective tissues also serve as an elegant metaphor for the interconnectedness of all things. Just as fascia links muscles, bones, and organs into one continuous whole, life itself is held together by subtle, unseen connections. Relationships, memories, habits, emotions. These elements weave through our lives like threads of connective tissue, shaping how we move through the world, how we recover, and how we grow. The quiet strength of connective tissue reflects the quiet strength that lives within each person, guiding us gently through the cycles of life. As this calm exploration comes to an end, it may be soothing to imagine the body once more as a serene landscape. The bones form mountains of quiet endurance, the muscles create the rolling hills of strength and mobility, and the connective tissues form the soft earth that holds everything together, supporting every shape, every breath, every transition. The body is not a collection of parts, but a flowing unity. It is held together not by force, but by the tender persistence of connective tissues ever present, ever adapting, and ever supportive. In their gentle architecture, they provide a foundation for comfort, movement, healing, and rest. And through their patient companionship, they offer the body a sense of harmony that endures through every stage of life.